keeping you informed. KUAM News brings you Banking 671, brought to you by the Bank of Guam, the People's Bank, and Coast 360 Federal Credit Union. Together, we thrive.
KUAM News COVID-19 Takeover on I-94 FM is presented locally by Ambrose Inc.
GU Self-Storage, conveniently located near the Harmon McDonald's. We offer affordable rates, online payments, and auto bill pay for your convenience. Plus gate access daily from 6 a.m. to 9 p.m. Call us today at 648-7867 for more information.
With the new challenges we're all facing, First Hawaiian Bank wants to make sure you have access to your financial world. With FHB Online and our mobile app, we hope to make banking the least of your worries. Visit fhb.com/digital.
We hope that you and your loved ones are safe and healthy during the COVID-19 pandemic. It has been a challenging time for all, but now, more than ever, our cancer patients and caregivers need us. Although we are apart, we stand united in the fight against cancer. The American Cancer Society Guam is excited to announce our first virtual Relay for Life. Join us on Saturday, June 27th at 6:30 p.m. on KUAM TV 8, as well as on I-94 FM and streaming on KUAM News digital platforms. Cancer does not stop, and neither can we. On June 27th, let's celebrate together and fight cancer. Visit relayforlife.org/GuamGU to find out how you can participate in the 2020 virtual Relay for Life Guam.
Be healthy. Be informed with ITD.
It's not always easy trying something new. Sometimes you have to help your loved ones along. Nana is so used to her weekly trips to the bank that going online can be a little scary for her. But her grandson knows that banking online is safer and easier. So he's teaching her how to get started using Bank of Guam's online banking videos. Teaching is one way to show our loved ones we care. Keep your family safe at home and show them how to bank online. Find easy-to-use online banking tutorials at bankofguam.com or on our Instagram and Facebook pages. Bank of Guam, member FDIC.
Ha'afare. When it comes to applying for unemployment benefits as it relates to the Pandemic Unemployment Assistance and Federal Pandemic Unemployment Compensation programs, the first thing you'll need to do is create an account and register on HireGuam.com. Utilizing this button rather than the Not Registered button at the upper right login box will ease the pool registration process as it was built specifically for the pool program. The first page you'll see is the welcome page that explains the pool program and the 10 scenarios of eligibility that caused unemployment. Read through it entirely, and if any pertain to you, click Next. Input your social security number and then re-enter to confirm. Notice at the top of the page, the eligibility section is completed and the registration process begins. In order to complete your registration process, you will be asked to provide the following: a username and password and select a security question, an email address, or if you don't have one, you will be required to create one with the link provided, your residential and mailing address if different, your preferred notification method to receive benefit notices and updates, any prior military or current military service, education, occupation, your preferred payment method, such as direct deposit or paper check.
So o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave.
Panogita moru purita nonda kantai mantunat nyagi toru ilugar para honra para gloria abibai islasen para honra para gloria abibai islasen para gitodu tempui pas para ita dan gini langit na bendition contrai peligro na fansafuham Deus protege Islam contrai peligro na fansafuham Deus protege Islam.
See no differences between us, you and I. Breaking bread together, sharing one cup of wine together. If only I had one wish come true, then I would make one wish to be with you. Oh yeah. If only I had my wishes come true, I would end all wars around the world. No longer fights between us, you and I. Breaking bread together, sharing one cup of wine together. If only I had one wish come true, then I would make one wish to be with you. So make believe, oh yeah. A little bit of hope won't hurt nobody. They keep saying I'm naive, but it seems all so real to me. If only I had my wishes come true, I would turn this world into paradise with peace and love between us, you and I. Breaking bread together, sharing one cup of wine together. If only I had one wish come true, then I would make one wish to be with you. Oh yeah, 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 Breaking bread together, sharing one cup of wine together. If only I had one wish come true, then I would make one wish to be with you. Hey, yeah. Oh, yeah. Then I would make one wish to be
Good morning, Guam! Morning. Kicking it off with a little bit of John Palau, Wishful Thinking. One of my most favorite local artists with a great body of work there. And welcome. 623, it's containing COVID. The KUM News takeover of Guam's favorite, and it's all proudly brought to you by Calvo Enterprises, Ambrose Inc., Coast 360, the Bank of Guam, and IT&E. Good morning on you. It's still Father's Day in the States for those of you who dropped the ball yesterday. Good morning, Sabrina.
Good morning.
How was your Father's Day weekend?
It was good. I talked to my dad briefly. It was still Saturday over there, so I'll probably call him again today. And I talked to my Uncle Tony in San Diego.
Good for you.
Yeah. Wish them a happy Father's Day.
I found out yesterday that my kids know how to wash dishes.
All right.
Yeah, so it's good. Thank you. Had a good time. Of course, the whole big meal, and oh boy, talk about a food hangover.
What'd you cook?
I cooked short ribs. I cooked barbecue chicken. I cooked this little like breakfast potato thing I make with like spinach and caramelized onions.
Mm-hmm.
I cooked a little fried rice. I cooked some fresh ripe local mango.
You
Yeah.
cooked some fresh.
I cooked. Yeah, it was a good time. I just had a whole spread and we ate, and then I made some homemade ice cream,
Nice.
vanilla and coffee, and that's what we did.
Nice.
We just ate, sat around. We were gonna go to the beach, but wow, Epan Beach. Oh my Lord,
Packed.
it was beyond packed. That's the most packed I ever saw it. First beach. I'm talking there was at least 200 people there with a bunch of I got a video, but I don't want to be a snitch. But it was just crazy. You know me, I am a snitch. Okay, sorry. Good morning, it's 6:25. Of course, lots to talk about. We're going to get the labor director. We have a sort of commitment. I said, hey, can we get you a call? And he's like, I will try. So we're trying to get him on. This is the day you want to go on, though.
Yeah.
We got some, what we're anticipating to be good news with the pandemic unemployment assistance and the FPUC payments. Also, we'll catch up with Speaker Tina Munia Barnes this morning. And I want to share a message from our friend Major Tom of the Salvation Army, who has been officially relieved of duty.
Sorry, I got on my mask backwards. I
It's
just
okay.
realized.
He was on a plane out of Guam early this morning, and
Oh,
we were able to exchange some messages back and forth yesterday because, I lost track of the time. I thought we still had time to get him on before he left, but they did a ceremony in Adelup, presented him with there was some, I don't know if it was the Ancient Order of Chamorro or some kind of award recognizing his work here
Oh wow.
on-
I didn't
on
get
the
a
island.
release on that.
I saw something on the governor's Instagram.
Oh no, but did they invite the media?
I don't think they did.
Okay.
And so I touched base with him, and he was like, "Yeah, we're leaving tomorrow." So he sent me a cool little message that I'll share later on. 6:26. Again, the show proudly brought to you by Cabo Enterprises, Ambrose Inc., ITN Coast 360, and the Bank of Guam. As we always do when we start the show, we'll take a dive into the day's COVID-19 headlines from the KUAM News team with the very latest. Good morning, Sabrina Salas-Manzanati.
Coffee, good morning, everyone. The total count of COVID cases on Guam jumped significantly over the weekend. On Saturday, 22 additional cases tested positive for COVID-19 through the Department of Defense. 20 of those positive cases were identified through contact tracing among service members in a unit deployed to Anderson Air Force Base, bringing the total cases associated with this unit to 35. The other 2 cases were identified through screening at Anderson Air Force Base and were healthcare workers who reported contact to cases of COVID-19. The total number of COVID cases on Guam is now 222, 5 deaths, 173 recoveries, and 44 active cases. The Air Force, in the meantime, refuses to respond to inquiries regarding the unit in terms of where the service members are deployed from and how many people are assigned to the unit. They are citing security reasons. All we know is that the unit deployed to Anderson arrived on May 25th and stayed at the Reef Hotel in Tumon. One of the service members started showing symptoms on June 11th and then tested positive at Naval Hospital the following day on the 12th. According to a press release, all service members assigned to the unit were rapidly placed in isolation and have since been relocated to the Jigo Air Base and are under medical observation in accordance with CDC protocols. Meanwhile, Public Health Director Linda Pinco DeNorsi confirms her department is conducting contact tracing investigations because these airmen who were supposed to be on restricted movement orders did not follow those orders prior to testing positive for COVID-19. Quote, DPHSS contact investigation and tracing team continues to work collaboratively with the Air Force's Public Health Flight Commander to conduct contact investigations and contact tracing on all COVID-19 cases. DeNorsi adding, once information is confirmed regarding close contacts and venues visited, Public Health will notify individuals and provide an update to the community. KUAM asked Donorsi if she knew the airmen violated those orders by dining in restaurants and going to other locations outside what their orders allowed. She responded, quote, yes, and that Public Health is doing contact tracing off base and military is doing it on base. On Friday, Joint Region Marianas ordered barring all Navy, Marine Corps, and Coast Guard stationed on board Guam from dining in restaurants and going out to bars until June 25th. Meanwhile, permanent and temporary Air Force personnel at Anderson Air Base must still limit travel to essential trips only, such as grocery shopping, the gas station, and pharmacy. The policy will remain in effect until further directed. The first batch of long-awaited checks for the Pandemic Unemployment Assistance Program should be in the hands of Guam's displaced workers this week. Department of Labor Director David De La Sola says that today they will begin processing PUA benefits. Error-free claims filed through June 1st will be processed by the Department of Administration. De La Sola saying soon about $33 million in checks and electronic transfers will be distributed to our people, with more on its way as we continue to adjudicate PUA claims. Last Friday, GDOL was able to complete successful transaction tests and has been working over the weekend to deliver the first batch of unemployment benefits to applicants early this week. The total number of claims to be paid will be based on the number of clean claims processed. Meanwhile, GDOL's processing center at the Guam Community College continues to offer in-person applications, but you must make an appointment first. Additionally, their roving library application centers are ongoing. Today, DOL will return to the Dededo Library, and again, you need to make an appointment. A quick update on stimulus checks, specifically EIP checks issued by the Department of Revenue and Taxation. The agency processed 1,536 EIP program payments totaling about $2.36 million on Friday. Altogether, for the months of April, May, and June, DRT processed approximately 67,800 EIP program payments totaling about $124.3 million. This represents about 92% of the estimated $134.8 million, which was approved by the Internal Revenue Service and the U.S. Treasury. With updated guidelines that they say are more practical, daycare facilities are preparing to open up today. Adriana Cotero visits the World of Wonder Child Care and Learning Center in Jigo to see how they are preparing.
It's a birthday wish come true.
It was my birthday yesterday, and someone messaged me and said, hey, you got your birthday wish.
Administrator and managing owner of World of Wonder Child Care and Learning Center, Manette Dizan, received a notice yesterday evening from the Department of Public Health announcing daycare centers can reopen Monday at 50% client occupancy.
So 50%, and I was like, oh, that's great. So that means we can have 20 kids now.
The occupancy does not include staff, which means 8 employees can also come back to work on Monday. However, earlier this week, that was not the case, and this brought the Daycare Association knocking on the doors of Adelup.
There was actually a meeting that we, our Daycare Association officers attended. It had our licensor there. It had the physician advisory group. Everyone was venting their concerns, and Public Health is the division that supports daycares. They were also frustrated for us and saying that it doesn't make sense, 25%, and for it to include the staff.
This United Front's concerns were heard, leading Dizan to spend the morning training her staff immediately in preparation for the reopen.
It was a training to review our new procedures and policies, everything from how the kids will be dropped off, how will they be picked up, how will we do circle time, how will we sanitize and clean, how will we do social distancing in the playground.
For this center, they are following a 10-page policy guideline that outlines the new operations. Dizan says all her clients were happy to hear the news, and they have already received 2 new enrollments.
And one of our new enrollees is, they are, frontline nurse. Yeah. Now she gets to go back to work. They need daycare. They're going to lose their job if they can't go to work. And so I think a combination of everyone saying that, daycares are essential businesses is what, prompted them to change the requirement to 50%.
Guidelines are more practical, and now parents' wishes to go back to work can also come true. Reporting for Guam's News Network, I'm Adriana Cotero.
Switching to regional news, we bring in our Tomas Manglotnia, who is live in Saipan. Tomas.
Good morning, Bray and Chris. Here's the latest making news from the CNMI. The Commonwealth Healthcare Corporation releasing some new guidelines, a short video of a summary of the requirements for everyone entering the CNMI as of June 20th. Take a listen.
All travelers coming to the Commonwealth of the Northern Mariana Islands are required to be in a 14-day quarantine at the designated isolation site as prescribed by the Governor's COVID-19 Task Force. To be exempted from 14-day quarantine, incoming travelers should complete the following steps. Fill out the online CNMI mandatory declaration form for each traveler at least 3 days prior to arrival. This will be available at the CNMI Governor's Office website. After you complete the CNMI mandatory declaration form, you will be registered for the SARA Alert System. Respond to the SARA Alert System daily for at least 14 days on your preferred method of contact. Go to your specimen collection appointment for COVID-19 testing. Residents will automatically be scheduled for testing on day 5 after their arrival. Essential workers may be eligible for same-day testing. Non-residents might be subject to testing upon arrival. Fees will apply to travelers who are non-compliant or non-residents. Non-residents or people who don't live in the CNMI must bring valid proof of a PCR test to be reviewed by a CNMI health representative. Bringing a PCR test result does not guarantee exemption from quarantine at the designated isolation site or an early testing appointment. A valid PCR test result is defined as a test result of the traveler's specimen collected within 3 to 6 days prior to arrival. It must have the name of the traveler, name of the processing laboratory, specimen collection date, the indication that a PCR test was conducted, and the result. All of this information must be in English. While you wait for your specimen collection appointment and the result of your tests, please practice self-quarantine measures by staying home as much as possible, limiting trips and interactions with others, washing your hands frequently and wiping down high-touch surfaces, staying at least 6 feet away from others, and wearing a face covering. Together, we can prevent the spread of COVID-19. Thank you for keeping our island safe.
COVID-19 Task Force here in the CNMI explains that the purpose for the new process is to allow returning residents to safely be at home with family while protecting the community from potential spread of COVID-19. The Governor's Office adds that this new quarantine procedure is designed to strike the right balance between reducing the exposure of persons infected with the coronavirus with reopening the CNMI's economy in accordance with the community vulnerability level of blue that we are now in the phased approach plan that the Governor announced recently. And here are the latest numbers from the CNMI's COVID-19 Task Force and the Commonwealth Healthcare Corporation as they plan to announce village-based testing later this week. The CNMI remains at 30 cumulative confirmed cases of COVID-19 with 2 deaths. On Saipan, they've tested over 7,000 people. About 500 people have been tested on Tinian, and over 500 people have been tested on Rota. Bringing Chris, that's the latest here in the CNMI.
Thanks, Tomas. Back here on Guam, some tragic news over the weekend. At around 8 o'clock Sunday morning, GFD rescue swimmers located the body of an 18-year-old swimmer that went missing Saturday afternoon. According to GFD spokesperson Kevin Riley, the male victim was recovered approximately 200 yards south of the last seen location off the cliff line behind Marbo Cave. On Saturday, GFD and units from Coast Guard Sector Guam responded to a report of a distressed swimmer The young male was part of a group of 5 hikers that went to a popular area to jump into the ocean from the cliff line approximately 25 feet high. After landing in the water, the male was pulled out by the current and unable to return. Following the release of a report into the events surrounding an outbreak of COVID-19 on the carrier USS Theodore Roosevelt, Navy Captain Brett Crozier, the ship's former commander, will not be reinstated. Navy Admiral Michael Gilday, Chief of Naval Operations, said at a press conference over the weekend, based on facts in the report, which Gilday and Navy Secretary Kenneth Braithwaite characterized as both thorough and fair. Gilday said his initial recommendation that Crozier reinstated was wrong. In addition, Navy Rear Admiral Stuart Baker's pending promotion to 2-star rank has been put on hold pending further review, Gilday said. Baker, the commander of Strike Group 9, was Crozier's immediate superior. Gilday saying, quote, "I previously believed that Captain Crozier should be reinstated following his relief in April after conducting an initial investigation. The much broader, deeper investigation that we conducted in the weeks following that had a much deeper scope. It is my belief that both Admiral Baker and Captain Crozier fell well short of what we expect of those in command. Had I known then what I know today, I would have not made that recommendation to reinstate Captain Crozier. Moreover, if Captain Crozier were still in command today, I would be relieving him." In national news, President Trump held his first rally in months in Tulsa, Oklahoma. And although the event may be one of the biggest indoor gatherings in the country since COVID-19 restrictions went into effect, it was a much smaller crowd than the campaign expected. Omar Villafranca has the latest.
5 months from now, we're going to defeat Sleepy Joe Biden.
President Trump's first campaign rally since March comes as coronavirus cases are spiking in Oklahoma and many states across the U.S.
We saved hundreds of thousands of lives, and all we do is get hit on like we're terrible.
Earlier, some Trump supporters who planned to attend seemed conflicted about the risk of entering a crowded space.
I have hand sanitizer on me. We have masks for whenever we get, less, 6 feet away.
No intentions on wearing masks. We're healthy individuals. We hope everyone here is only coming here if they assume the risk of being out here today.
President Trump's campaign announced Saturday that 6 staff members who helped set up for the rally have tested positive for the virus. Organizers conducted temperature checks and provided hand sanitizer. Masks were also handed out, but not required. President Trump has been highly anticipating this night to gain momentum from his base.
I stand before you today to declare the silent majority is stronger than ever before.
He loves to unite people.
We have a lot of turmoil going on, and I think he can swallow that a little bit.
Just before the indoor rally got underway, plans for the president and vice president to also address a crowd outside the venue were canceled. Omar Villafranca, CBS News, Tulsa, Oklahoma.
A senior Trump administration official says the president was speaking in jest when he made comments during his speech about having wanted to slow down COVID-19 testing. In your Banking 671 report, the Bank of Guam today is reopening its Naval Station branch from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. and closed on Saturday. Additionally, the bank's Hagåtña and Saipan Garapan branches have updated their hours effective today. The Hagåtña drive-thru is from 8 a.m. to 3 p.m. The Hagåtña branch is from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. Garapan drive-thru and walk-up is from 8 a.m. to 3 p.m. and the Garapan branch is 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. The Upper Tumon, Anderson, Mangilao, and Jigo branches continue their 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. hours, with all branches closed Saturday. The Tumon branch drive-thru again is closed. All open branches now offer all branch services with new accounts and loan originations, available by appointment only, and you can email appointments@bankofguam.com or other customer support. Meanwhile, Coast 360 warns you not to be intimidated by pressure, threats, or confusion tactics of scammers that often use scare tactics and coerce victims into acting quickly before they can look deeper into their lies. Never respond to threats or demands for payment or your personal information. Learn about how legitimate businesses or government agencies might contact you by visiting their website or calling a number that you know to be genuine. That is your Banking 671 report, brought to you by the Bank of Guam and Coast 360. And finally, at KUAM, we're very honored to be a part of this year's Relay for Life, as we have been for many years. And with 2020 being a particularly difficult time where we can't all do the fun activities together, our spirit and focus remains strong in battling cancer on island. And so we've come up with a special way for us to once again unite our hearts and minds and show the world cancer can't beat us. The KUAM Dance Challenge. You can download a song on your Facebook page by our late colleague and brother KC Savage K Conception, Live Life Alive, which he wrote and performed before he started his own battle against cancer. Send your dance challenge clips to KUAM Dance Challenge at KUAM.com. And here is a sneak peek of some of the submissions we have received thus far.
Never give up, never stay down, stand back up, put your feet on the ground. We all know we must fight to survive, so live life alive, it's alright. Never give up, never stay down, stand back up, put your feet on the ground. We all know we must fight to survive, so live life alive, it's alright. Never give up.
That is so awesome. Again, join the fight against cancer. Send us your video to KUAM Dance Challenge at KUAM.com or post your dance video on social media using the hashtag KUAM Dance Challenge. We'll be combining your submissions for a special montage of all of us doing the same dance with the same spirit. So get your clips in today, and don't forget to watch the virtual Relay for Life on June 27th on KUAM TV8 and our digital platforms. That begins at 6:30 p.m. Again, June 27th.
All right, 6:45. There was something that happened over the weekend. I think it was a petition drive with the Democratic Party of Guam on at Adelup, and there was some noise that was made about whether or not that type of event could be held on government property, and that was kind of one of the first things we wanted to take care of this morning. So we'll quickly bring on Maria Pangolina from the Guam Election Commission. Good morning, Miss Maria.
Half a day, Chris Barnett and Sabrina Salas Metanani.
Half a day. I understand that a complaint letter was sent to you on June 20th by Ken Leon Guerrero, who's also a candidate.
Right.
Yes, it was. Yes.
And so, and we talked about this briefly. You're saying that the enforcement of this falls on the Department of Public Works.
That's correct. Whether political signs can go up on public property is in the zoning law, and the zoning law is enforced by the Department of Public Works.
And what about just, would that be considered a political event? I mean, it kind of sounds like a stupid question, but would the Democratic Party of Guam has a petition drive for candidates, is that considered a quote-unquote political event?
If it's a voter registration drive, it's not a political event.
Okay, and that's what it...
Mm-hmm. So if I were to say I worked at Adelup and I came with the truck with the sign on it, that would be okay?
You know, the Civil Service Commission, Sabrina, looks at that, and we've invited, Civil Service Commission has been a part of our candidate seminar. Mm-hmm. In the candidate seminars, they made it clear that if a person owns a truck with a big sign on it and works at that department, that person can park his car at that department.
Right. Okay. And then if they're, because this was on a Saturday, if they're off work at whatever, right? This is
Again, Chris, that's a Civil Service Commission call, and the one about political signs, that's a Public Works call.
So who runs the candidate seminars?
We do, the Guam Election Commission,
so
but we partner up with the Civil Service Commission. We invite them to come because lots of questions are posed to us via telephone on what government employees can do and cannot do, and so that's why we invite them, so that the candidates are made aware of those rules and laws.
But based on, I'm sure you're intimately aware of Guam's election laws. So based on your reading of the law, is something like what happened over the weekend legal? With campaign signs, I didn't see, I wasn't there, but if they had campaign signs up and were like, hey, this person's planning to run, vote for this person or whatever, is that kind of stuff legal?
Sabrina, the other time that campaign signs are allowed on public property is when candidates are waving. I'm sorry, I cannot quote that section of the law, but there is a part, and I'm not so sure if it's in the zoning code or the election code, where candidates who are waving can temporarily put up their signs in public property where the candidate and his or her supporters are waving.
Okay. So it kind of seems like, well, first of all, we're the Democratic Party chair. I know she listened to the show. I tried to get her on this morning. We have a commitment for Wednesday, but I guess, first of all, Bree, we have to find out exactly what happened. Was it a wave? Was it a petition signing? Was it a voter registration drive? Because it kind of seems like it was a lot of...
I thought I saw something from the Democratic Party about them having some sort of an event. Here it is. It's a petition and... Democratic Party of Guam candidate petition and voter registration drive.
Yes, we were involved with the voter registration drive, obviously.
Right.
And with the voter registration drive, the Guam Election Commission always tries to ensure that the registrars have enough affidavits of registration, have enough forms. So we when they called, when the Democratic Party called, and I let them know that, okay, we'll make sure that there are people available to be able to give you voter affidavits of registration if you run out, because those forms are limited and are controlled, are totally controlled by the GEC.
Okay, so I guess that when you follow up on that, Miss Maria, maybe we could catch up on it tomorrow morning.
Thank you so much.
Okay.
Thanks.
Thank you, Miss Maria. Wash your hands. All right. Well, what's your release say?
Which release from the Democrats or the Ken Leon Guerrero complaint?
I just see you looking at something there.
I'm looking at the Ken Leon Guerrero complaint. It says, I'm filing a complaint against the Democrat Party and Democrat candidates who violated Guam election laws, specifically by having people who are employees of the government and political candidates campaigning on government property using an unfair advantage of the power of the Democrat incumbency to show special favors and discriminate against other political candidates running for public offices in the 2020 primary election, as they use their exclusive privilege to be on the grounds of the capital of the island's government to solicit voters for signatures on their political campaign petitions.
All of that?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, there's a whole lot more here.
Yeah. Let's get Jess Garcia from Public Works on to kind of, because Maria Pangilinan kind of said it's a DPW issue. So, Jess, I know that we touched base this morning. You said you hadn't looked at the law, so me being the good guy I am, I sent it to you. So were you able to figure that out, Jess?
Yes, Chris, thanks for sending that thing over.
Yeah. Good morning. Jess Garcia is the Deputy Director of DPW.
Hi, Jess.
Ladies and gentlemen. Hi, Jess.
Hey. Okay, good morning, Chris.
Morning.
Sabrina. Okay, yeah, I reviewed the law, and apparently it looks like all political signs should be posted on private property, not on a government easement or government property. Hello?
Yeah, we're here.
Yeah, so that's pretty much it. So if you're going to put a political sign up, it has to be on private property. And if it's close by a road, it would have to be at least 8 feet away from the paved portion of the road.
Unless they're waving, then while you're waving, you can just do whatever, Jess?
So I think that's a different issue, Chris, on the waving. They're talking about political signs, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What
So
about...
I think it's a total different thing. I would have to check into that. But as far as the sign law, Public Works regulates the sign law.
So from what you understand, everything that happened there Saturday relative to the sign law, the political sign law, was legal.
I don't know if they have any signs that were up on government property saying that to vote for me or whatever, but it's just I didn't see any political signs down there that were posted on property.
Were you down there Saturday, Jess?
I went down just to check it out, but I didn't see any political signs posted on private. On the lawn or anything.
Right. What about having this type of candidate petition drive? And I mean, because it's a political activity, is it okay to have it on government property?
Well, as far as that I would have to defer back to Maria on that. It's the political signs that are being posted is what DPW would regulate.
Lana, she already went into church, so we kind of get her. So. What do you think, though, Jess? What's your gut feeling? I mean, you're no stranger. How many elections you've been involved with on both parties?
Yeah, well, the petition drive. I don't really know. I would have to get guidance from Maria, though.
Bree?
No, I'm just looking at. So you don't. There's a part in the language of the law that was posted in this video, using government travel allowance, government transportation, government supplies, or government facilities for the benefit of any political party, partisan political organization, or candidate. So that's okay?
Well, that would have to be brought up with the election commission. That's not
okay.
If it was about signs, I'll definitely answer that, but I would defer to Maria on that.
Okay, Jess, let me ask you this, Fen. What if I'm running for senator and then I want to rent, the big pavilion at EPOW for my campaign thing? Is that okay?
I wouldn't know if they would be able to if they're allowed to do that kind of activity on a park. I would have to research that, Chris.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, is Adelup a park or what? Is it? I mean, that part of it, is it? Can you rent the field? Can you, because that was the argument in the video I saw, Jess, that was kind of the argument I think Fred Berdallo made was, hey, they have gatherings and barbecues here all the time.
Well, I know on the bottom part is open to the public for the parks. You got a couple of pavilions down there and other stuff. The kids use it for soccer practice and stuff.
Mm-hmm. Okay,
so if it, I guess we was on the other side of the fence, then that would be considered the actual governor's office, right?
Sounds like you're not really sure, Jeff.
I'm not sure. I would have to do more research if there's a specific thing you want me to check.
If I wanted to use, or say the Republican Party wanted to use the same area for a similar voter registration drive, do they just set up and go for it, or do they have to get approval from Adelup to do that? Or DPW or whoever?
I would have to verify that, but I don't think if they did it, then it wouldn't be a problem, I guess, for the Republican Party to do the same thing.
So you're saying the Republicans can come on down and set up?
And just have a voter registration.
Was there any permit, Jess, that the Democratic Party had to get from Public Works to have this event?
No, because basically it's not a roadway; it's a park. So I don't know what
it's a park.
If they have a permit or what?
Okay.
Okay. So come on down, Republicans. You guys should go down. This would be great. What a great way to start Adeloop's work week. Just get a bunch of annoying Republicans down at Adeloop. I mean, bring only the most annoying ones, though. There's a few of them.
All right. Thanks, Jess.
right.
Oh, hey,
Wait,
is there
hold on.
any update on discussions with GDOE on school buses for the upcoming
Okay,
school
so
year?
we're working together with GDOE on the scheduling and stuff like that for the new school year, depending on how DOE is going to handle the students coming into school, and we're still working on details. Nothing has been finalized, so there's still discussion on it.
What about like PPEs for the bus drivers and sanitization of the school buses and social distancing on a school bus? I mean, that just seems kind of
That's
difficult.
why we're in discussions with DOE. But as far as PPEs and sanitizing the bus, we are doing that as of this time.
Okay.
As you know, we do the transport of the quarantine people from the airport to the quarantine facilities.
Is that going to continue when school starts?
That's what we're going to have to look at, Patty.
Patty and Begatson.
Sorry. Sabrina. But anyways, yeah. So we're gonna have to look into that. If it's gonna continue on to the school year, then we're gonna have discussions on how we're gonna handle the quarantine facilities.
Yeah, because you guys are going to be stretched pretty thin if you're going to have to implement social distancing, sanitize the buses in between, and still, have to transport precious cargo like that, and commingling if you're having to do both double duty with all these people coming in.
Yeah. Or do we need to hire more bus drivers, Jess? Is it looking like that?
At this point, Chris, actually, we need to still work the details out. It's really unclear of how we're going to handle the school year with the students.
What about private tour bus companies? Are they out of business, or just no? They don't want to transport these arriving passengers?
Right now, because we've had this pandemic ongoing, our bus drivers are available, so we try to minimize on expenditures on renting buses. If I can provide the service that the government can provide, I'll provide whatever I can.
Right.
Did you just say minimizing expenditures?
On my part.
You don't want to get in trouble, Jess, talking that kind of... You take it easy there, Jess.
Well, so the bus drivers are on summer break, right? So I have them doing this duty to help out.
I'm just messing with you.
So there's nothing you can tell us about the reopening of schools, because you're part of it, right?
No, not right now, because they're still under discussion with the DOE superintendent.
Jess, what about back to normal operations for DPW? How have you guys' operations increased now that we're more open than we used to be?
Well, actually, like for example, the building permit section, construction was still ongoing during the closure, so we still had to provide services to the contractors that were working. Like inspections and stuff like that.
Yeah. Are you guys helping with is your agency helping with the homeless situation?
Yes, Public Works is helping out on that in some way.
What's the way that you're helping?
Well, identifying the locations that are being proposed and stuff like that.
All right. So where are the locations? I know that when we spoke with the Lieutenant Governor last week, he was saying that hopefully by today he would have some answers.
Yes, they're still down with GSA, and we're waiting for them to select a couple locations. So when GSA calls us to come out and assist them to look at certain buildings to make sure that they either meet code or what is our thing, and then that's when they call us to help out.
How close are we to finding this hardened shelter?
I believe it should be either today or this week for sure.
Ooh, for
They had
sure.
I think they had a couple locations that they looked at,
Mm-hmm.
and I think this week GSA would be able to award.
Can you say where?
I can't say. Sabrina, GSA would have to be the one because I don't know what other bids came in.
Okay.
So just
Northern Guam?
Central, Southern. Are we cold or are we hot? Northern Guam.
Well, I know for sure that they're trying to look for central locations of where the most populated homeless people are at.
Right.
Okay.
Jess, so we obviously, I know you know, we had the director of Parks and Rec on Friday, Mr. John Birch, talking about kicking the homeless out of Paseo, but it looks like they got a reprieve. I was talking to a couple of them over the weekend, and they were allowed to stay. Can you know anything about that? Because they were told they had to leave by the end of day Thursday, and then I saw a bunch of people were telling me like, "Hey, yeah, we drove by Paseo. They're still here." And I actually talked to one of them, and they said, "Yeah,
Well,
they
actually,
gave us a break."
Actually, Chris, as of this morning, I'm going to be the acting director of Parks and Recreation.
Wait, what?
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 I will be the detailed to the acting director of Parks and Recreation for now until they find a permanent director.
Where's John Birch?
He went on
John
Chris and
Birch
Sabrina's
has been,
show, and that was it.
Yeah, he was reassigned to I think Ancestral Lands Commission.
What happened, Jess?
I don't know. I think the director of the Ancestral Lands is
Mr. Ngoko?
on leave. Yeah.
Oh, okay. So it's musical directors.
Well, I was doing it before Mr. Birch came in.
Right.
Yeah.
What
So
time?
So I guess they were asking me to come back and help and assist on getting the issues worked out for the Parks and Recreations.
When did you find out that you were going to be the acting director? Was it like at 10:05 on Friday or
It was
this morning?
Friday afternoon.
Friday? Okay, Friday afternoon.
What happened? Did it have anything to do with the interview that he did on the show?
That I don't know, John. Chris.
What do you think, though?
I don't know. I just do what I'm told, man. They asked me to do it. I'll do it. I'll do whatever I can to help the department out.
Yeah, we know,
Yeah,
Jess.
here it goes.
You're-
So wait, are you talking to us now as the acting of? Are you still acting DPW deputy? Or?
Yes, it's a collateral duty for now.
Atlanta, they just added on more job for you.
Same status as how I was running it when I first came in.
Right. Wow,
double duty.
you got a lot to do over at Parks and Rec. We went through the whole staffing pattern last week Friday. So good.
If you want to know
luck.
anything about your mandates at Parks and Rec, just go back and listen to our interview from Friday. He laid it out
Sure.
several times. Man, dude, Jess, I was just texting Mr. Birch on Saturday. I was like, hey, when are we going to... I said, I'm going to clear my schedule. We're going to do the tour.
Yeah.
Remember he said he pulled the Uncle Carl on me way back. I don't know if you guys remember way back when I was at another station. I did this live interview with Uncle Carl, and he was like, Lana boy, come in. We'll tour you around the island. And so John Birch did the same thing. So Saturday, I actually texted him. I was like, hey, happy early Father's Day. I want to take you up on that offer. We'll clear a time maybe in the next week or so. And he was like, yeah, I think it's going to be fun. But he didn't mention that he wasn't with the department any longer. So, interesting.
Does he does know, right?
Yeah, does he know, Jess?
I believe he should know.
Okay.
He should, right?
They should have gave him a memo.
Okay. Well, good luck, and
All
keep
right.
us posted with what's going on. I mean,
Yeah.
I know you guys got the pools.
Right.
The big cleanup is this weekend.
Yes. Well, we gotta just call me if you guys have any questions. You
Yeah.
guys
Of course.
know where to find me.
I know.
Right.
Yeah.
And you're always accessible.
Totally.
Really appreciate that,
Yeah,
Jess.
yeah.
All right. Okay. Thank
Okay.
Thank
bye.
you, Jess.
you. Yes, thank you.
Okay, wash your hands.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, bye.
Well. Oh, man.
Wow. He did just say...
Don't. Another one bites the dust. Don't. Are we going to get flagged for trademark if I sing that, Ken? No, Sony's not going to flag us, right?
You didn't know? You didn't know about this?
Don't.
You didn't know about this?
Well, Bree, my last conversation with the director was on... It was on... Where was it? Oh, it was actually Friday. I texted him on Friday. Anyway, so let me just tell you. Yeah, I said, hi, John. I'm going to take you up on that tour, but can we do a Facebook Live of it?
Mm-hmm.
Let me figure out the logistics because I don't think it can be an all-day thing, but it would be a good visual component to what you were saying this morning. Yeah, this is on Friday.
Mm-hmm.
Let me check a date and time frame, and I'll get back to you next week. Happy Father's Day. Then he replied, sure thing, Chris. I apologize for cutting you off earlier. Was just trying to get my point across, and I admit you didn't make it easy. You have a job to do, and I respect that. I have a job to do, and I hope you understand my position. You can meet and talk to any DPR employee without any censorship. You need to see and understand what they go through on a daily basis. Listen to them. Let them tell you their stories. I look forward to meeting you, and I admit I hope to influence your views about DPR if I can. The media has an important function in our community. Happy Father's Day. Okay, so those words from what we just learned, who we just learned is the new acting director at the Ancestral Lands Commission. Maybe that's a little more his speed. Bree, for Mr. Birch, the kind of older guy, this Parks and Rec, it's like there's a lot of stuff going on there. Obviously, as we heard Friday, a lot of...
Come on, he was just following directives. So.
Right, yeah. But I mean, can we say that his interview was just so damaging that they had to get him away from there? Was that what you think happened, or?
No, I think he held his own. He held his ground. He held his position that we got to clean up the parks, kick out the homeless is one of the, I guess, part of the plan.
Right, yeah.
And I don't know. I'm surprised, just as you are, that happened. He didn't even. I don't know. Wow.
I just thought I was going to get out of work. I thought I was going to go on a field trip.
You can still go.
Oh, can I still go?
Yeah, Jess will probably take... Well, Jess is kind of busy, too. He
is.
DPW and Parks and Recs, that's a lot. Those two huge agencies.
Well, there you go.
Well, I mean, DPW is a huge agency. Parks and Recs has multiple responsibilities. They haven't even fixed the pools yet.
Well, you heard it here first. Breaking news, I guess we can call it. The director, and he was the acting director at Parks and Rec, has been replaced by Public Works deputy director.
He replaced Richard
Jess
Ibanez,
Garcia,
right? He replaced Richard Ibanez.
So Rich left or resigned.
Right.
And then Jess Garcia was the acting deputy for a little bit, and then they brought in John Birch as the acting director.
Director, I thought.
Yeah, so Jess was the acting director, and then they brought in John Birch as the acting director. Jess went back to DPW as the deputy, and now he's just doing both.
Right.
Yeah. And I think Jess is one of these guys. I mean, you talk to Jess, he's a down-to-earth, grassroots guy. He's good with the people in the departments that he manages. And
he hustles.
He's a hustler, dude.
Yeah.
He's one of the hardest working.
Yep.
In fact, I want to say he's the hardest working deputy director.
Right. He was also a former director of Parks, not Parks and Recs, DPW during, was it, which
was it
governor?
Camacho, maybe?
Could have been, yeah, it could have been Camacho.
Probably it was Camacho because, related, but anyway. Crazy. Well, hey, Jess Garcia likes us. So there we go. We got an in, guys. We're going to get those pools fixed for you. It's the last thing we do, and hopefully it won't be the last thing we do. We're going to take a short break. Again, it's Containing COVID, Guam's favorite, the KUAM News Takeover. Good morning.
Summer is here. Quench that
Keeping you informed, KUAM News brings you Banking 671, brought to you by the Bank of Guam, the People's Bank, and Coast 360 Federal Credit Union. Together, we thrive.
KUAM News COVID-19 Takeover on I-94 FM is presented locally by Ambrose Inc.
GU Self-Storage, conveniently located near the Harmon McDonald's. We offer affordable rates, online payments, and auto bill pay for your convenience. Plus gate access daily from 6 a.m. to 9 p.m. Call us today at 648-7867 for more information.
With the new challenges we're all facing, First Hawaiian Bank wants to make sure you have access to your financial world. With FHB Online and our mobile app, we hope to make banking the least of your worries. Visit fhb.com/digital.
We hope that you and your loved ones are safe and healthy during the COVID-19 pandemic. It has been a challenging time for all, but now, more than ever, our cancer patients and caregivers need us. Although we are apart, we stand united in the fight against cancer. The American Cancer Society Guam is excited to announce our first virtual Relay for Life. Join us on Saturday, June 27th at 6:30 p.m. on KUAM TV 8, as well as on I-94 FM and streaming on KUAM News digital platforms. Cancer does not stop, and neither can we. On June 27th, let's celebrate together and fight cancer. Visit relayforlife.org/GuamGU to find out how you can participate in the 2020 virtual Relay for Life Guam.
Be healthy. Be informed with IT&E.
It's not always easy trying something new. Sometimes you have to help your loved ones along. Nana is so used to her weekly trips to the bank that going online can be a little scary for her. But her grandson knows that banking online is safer and easier. So he's teaching her how to get started using Bank of Guam's online banking videos. Teaching is one way to show our loved ones we care, keep your family safe at home, and show them how to bank online. Find easy-to-use online banking tutorials at bankofguam.com or on our Instagram and Facebook pages. Bank of Guam, member FDIC.
Be healthy. Be informed with IT&E.
On the street if it wasn't for you pesky meddling media. This reminded me of the Scooby-Doo. Remember in Scooby-Doo? It was always the same ending. If it wasn't for Sabrina and Chris, my plan would have come together. Yeah, well, in case you guys didn't hear, new information to us. Jess Garcia is now manning the helm at the Department of Parks and Rec.
He's the acting director, John Birch. As many of you may know, that he was on our show last week, and it was a lively discussion. But since then, according to Jess Garcia, sometime Friday afternoon, he got the call that he was going in. He's going to be the acting director of the Department of Parks and Recreation until they find a permanent director, while John Birch has now moved to be the director over the Guam Ancestral Lands Commission.
Right, so we'll kind of find out what is up with the current director over there, who's a nice guy, Mr. John Ngoko. So what did Jess say? He had gone on leave or something?
Something like that.
Something like
yeah.
that, yeah. And then the other thing that Jess had said that I thought was important was they're very, very close and looking to award the bid or for the Heart and Homeless Shelter either today or this week. So, you know,
and that's something that the Lieutenant Governor said also, that by Monday he should have some answers. So
I mean, it's been a rough ride. It's been an emotional roller coaster. You know, it's been an emotional roller coaster again. But hopefully we'll see the resolution of this. Okay.
And speaking of resolution, do we have Dave Delasole on the line?
Right. Yeah. I mean, is this going to be a good news Monday or what?
Hey, I'm all for good news.
Right. Dave. Hello. Good morning, Dave.
Good morning.
Good morning, Sabrina and Chris.
Good morning. So today might be the day?
Today should be the day.
I know you guys worked over the weekend.
Been waiting for it. Yes,
right.
We did. And I just was checking my email, and yes, at the end of Sunday, they sent the ACH file, which is the payment file, over to DOA, totaling over $35 million. So that should take payments, claims, I'm sorry, up to the 2nd of June.
Okay.
So the first several days of claims that were successfully filed have moved forward and are starting to be paid today out. So the process has been closed, and the file has been moved to DOA. DOA will now start to do the drawdown on the file and move the money to the bank, and then move the EFTs, the electronic fund transfers, for processing at the bank today also. And then they'll begin the check processing.
Good.
Go ahead, Chris.
Go ahead, Bree.
The $35 million, that's all electronic transfer? None of them are paper?
Nope, both.
Both. Okay.
What are the numbers on that? Because I know you guys are really pushing for the electronic.
It's quite impressive. It's
right.
About 11 to 1 still.
Yeah, I think
payments. 11 electronic funds transfers to every one check. So
yeah, I think
significant.
Edward Byrne, when we had him on last week, he was saying that it was like 90% direct deposit, electronic transfer. So
yes. So I think that was the message got out quite well, and so that way the money will be processed in the accounts very quickly, as compared to the checks that have to be cut, folded, stamped, and mailed.
And Dave, are you guys anticipating to just keep on going once you get this first batch out?
Yes, and that's why we did a couple days just to make sure that, which is $35 million.
Crazy.
It's staggering amount, but yes, we see how this goes and goes through. We had to go in on each day and pull the claims that have issues. And we are noticing that there are not quite a few, but a lot of claims that are in there. And I haven't gotten any exact numbers yet because we were just trying to frantically clear through those clean process claims, move them forward, and put a hold on any claim that had issues.
The 35 million. How many people? How many
we
checks?
Don't know. I don't have that number yet. We were, like I said, it's been frantic this whole weekend, just trying to move everything over and get everything done. And The test file went well, but we didn't find that out until the end of Friday. And so it's just been a nonstop, frantic pace of shifting people around and getting things done so that we could get people the money starting today.
But this is
then after that, it should move fairly quickly.
So people are going to be getting a very large amount because this is retro, right? Do you have an estimate on how much, I guess, one PUA payment would be?
Well, they can be from 10,000, give or take 1,000 here and there. It all depends on when they were their data being affected by the reduced hours or layoffs. So they range from 7,000 to like 10, 11, 12,000 as high as. So it's quite a big number, and that's why we're judiciously going through there and vetting out those ones that have an issue that need to have a second look. And that's why, again, to the public, that's why we told you guys, please put in as much supporting documents as possible to strengthen your claim. We have claims that are duplicates. We have claims that have no documents. We had claims that were totally off island. We had claims from foreign banks. We have claims from every single type of thing that you can imagine that we've had to put a hold on. And some were fairly obvious were fraud, and some were less obvious but just need to have a closer look at.
There's a fraud hotline that you guys put out in a email, I believe, where people can report fraud, waste, and abuse. Have you received a significant number of reports?
Actually, that's a good question, and I haven't had a look at that because, like I said, we've just been so focused on getting these payments out. But the next time I talk with you, I'll look to see if we had any tips. Or we do get a few emails and WhatsApp messages of people that have stated those things. So I know there's been a few, but I don't know if they've gone exactly to the pua.fraud@dolguam.gov.
Dave, we had a question here. Can you ask how we would have known if we were clean or if there's an issue with our app?
Well, once you file a claim, you on your dashboard, which is your home page, it'll say if there's any issues, unresolved issues on there. But that doesn't mean that there potentially could have been a hold. But most likely it moved forward. So if you were successful, but you had no documents attached, nothing to show who you are, what you are, and what you did, then you probably had a hold put on. But if everything was done correctly and you had a separation letter from your employer and your employer registered on Hire Guam, and everything looked perfect, then you were moved forward you shouldn't have any issues at all. So on the dashboard, it'll tell you if you have any unresolved issues.
Okay.
Pretty good. I think the process went very smoothly, and I'm hoping that by this afternoon we'll hear that everything was processed and paid, and the checks will start to be done when everything gets processed and the money comes down. And so I think this will be the start of. Once we get kind of caught up, we're going to do this once a week. Catch up, batch the payments, and send the payments out. Go ahead.
No, I have a question from one of our viewers. Can you ask about self-employed that can't file on Hire Guam?
Self-employed that can't hire on
File.
Well, then if I understand the question, then all they have to do is call in and make an appointment at either GCC or one of the libraries that we're roving around, and then they'll come in and then they'll assist you with the application. We've been doing that all the last couple of weeks, and it has gone fairly well, depending on the people that come in. Some are more prepared than others. Some are totally, have no idea what to do, and some come with no documents. And, but on the average, most that come in, they're out within an hour.
And that's a self-certified kind of thing, right? So if you are
the self-employed, basically will come in and they can self-certify, but they also have to show proof that they had some kind of income and what they did.
Okay, so like if you file taxes.
Of course, I mean, you have a license, some kind of business license. You got some kind of association that you're with. Farmers co-op. A letter from the mayor saying that you do what you do. Letters from your customer base. You need to show that number one, that you were actually doing what you say you were doing, and there's some way that you can prove it, and then that you were making income. You can't just say, "Oh, I'm self-employed," but you haven't made any money for the whole year. Then you weren't really the COVID didn't really have an effect on you. So there's various ways, and that's why the self-employed are always a little bit more difficult than your regular employee.
Okay. Do you have a count on total apps that have been filed to date?
Yes, we have the number of claims that have been initial is 22,538, and on employer side we have 31,187 employee separations put in from 1,754 employers. So, as much as complaints there's been about people not being able to file and complaints about the difficulty, we still have 22,000 that have gone in. I mean, not all of them are clean, but that's a fairly strong number of people that have claimed. And again, there's a lot of user errors, people forcing the system to do what it's not supposed to, and that's what creates a lot of the issues. And we have only so many staff that can handle the call-ins, the call-in applications, the walk-in applications, the adjudications of claims to make sure that they're clean and move them forward, the calling up of people with problem claims and making sure that they're called in and helped and assisted with the finalizing their claim. I mean, it's a lot of revolving problems, and as I always say, if you don't get into the phones and you hear it ringing, just keep calling, because that means that all the lines are tied up helping people. And we'll just keep chipping away at this, and eventually we'll be caught up. And don't worry, it'll be retro check, and we shouldn't run out of money. There's plenty, 924 million. So now that the process is all done, hopefully we can start shifting and getting people in there and getting their claims cleaned up, and we can keep getting that money out. Nothing will make me happier.
All right, 35 million should be going out today.
Yes.
Okay. We'll try and touch base with Ed Byrne. Is he good on his end as far as you know, Dave?
That's what the testing was all for.
Right.
They like I said, they put like a dummy file in, and they moved it, processed it, and put it to the bank, and the bank did a test transfer, and all the fields and everything was correct. The initial one, which was done on Wednesday, had some missing elements, and if that would have gone through, we would have made the payment on Friday. But those missing elements had to be tracked down and tweaked and reworked, and that's why we worked all through the night, making sure that, because the vendor's in Florida, and once those fields were perfect, we tried it again on Friday morning, and then by the end of Friday, we had a thumbs up, and that was all we needed to close out the payment process.
How do
we are? It will help us, because today tomorrow morning we have another meeting with the software company, and they are giving us a list of additional fraud measures that they've finalized and are ready to see which ones we were going to put into the system for payment. So that'll help us speed up the process of finding claims with issues or fraudulent claims or duplicate claims. So we're looking forward to hopefully getting that in this week so that we can speed up the manual process.
Mm-hmm. Is the Department of Administration or the Department of Labor going to send out any sort of notification to the beneficiary or the claimant, letting them know we just deposited this money into your account? Please verify that you actually received it.
I think on your dashboard you'll get something about that.
Okay.
I'll look into that. That's playing catch up. But that's why you basically have filled out this form and you have your own, the only thing is the checks that go out. Of course, we don't know whether, the only problem with checks that we always seem to have is that the addresses aren't correct. They don't get it. We get return checks. So then we're going to have a whole nother team of people do that. But thank God we're talking about small numbers. And then as far as the funds transfer, you put in the funds, you put in the bank account, you have the electronic. It'll show on your account when you log in that electronic funds transfer of a dollar amount went to the bank that you put on your application. Mm-hmm. So you'll have a notification in there.
Mm-hmm. We have a question. When are deadlines for claim renewals, Sundays or Fridays?
There's no deadline. You just have to wait for the last work week to be complete, and that was on Saturdays. So last Saturday, the 20th, was the end of a work week. So, of course, on Sunday or Monday, I always say Monday is better because the system does work in the States, stateside. So they're a day behind. So typically Monday you would just go in and then fill in that work week that just passed. And please always remember, if you are reduced hours and you're back at work, then you are still considered unemployed. So you would check that box, unemployed, until you get back to your original normal hours that you were pre-pandemic.
Okay.
Yeah, I just was messaging a little bit with Ed Byrne, Department of Administration. He said the ACH, the Automatic Clearinghouse file was received. It will be transmitted to the bank today. And he's typing.
Business as usual.
Is there anything else before we hear back from Mr. Byrne? Anything else that you wanted to get out?
No, I think that I'm very happy that we finally got here. I know I was hoping to get it there sooner, but like I said, this is brand new. Every step is a learning process of trying to figure out what we need to get done. And the dollar amounts that we're dealing with are such a huge number that we couldn't just push it through, casually. We had to really vet and make sure that we do this right so that when we do get audited and looked by the IGA, the Inspector General's office, that we have a good bill of health and the allotments will keep moving in as we continue down this road to recovery.
Right. Well, we're all rooting for you and for all your employees and staff over at DOL and DOA. So hopefully those checks get out today.
Thank you and Chris for your patience and not beating us up too badly while we get to this day. And I do want to tell the people of Guam we are working tirelessly to get to this point, and we'll continue tirelessly to get all your claims in and to get you this money. It's Guam's money, and we're going to get it out to everybody. But we want to make sure it stays on Guam and not to some fraud place that's in the foreign countries.
So Ed wrote back. He said ACH is basically the same as an electronic funds transfer, and they'll be sent to the bank today. So.
All right.
Yes.
All right,
okay.
Dave, thank you. I'll give you a little hand. People were hating, understandably very frustrated, but one thing I want to say, Dave, is that every week you were here on the phone doing your update no matter what, so appreciate that.
I tried. Some days I did have to work, and I couldn't talk to you guys a lot, but whenever it was done, whatever, I did try to keep the people informed and transparent.
Right.
Good stuff.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dave. Wash your hands.
I will wash them.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, bye.
7:38. Let's take a break here. It's Containing COVID, the KUAM News takeover of Guam's favorite Good Morning.
Let us help you.
Keeping you informed, KUAM News brings you Banking 671, brought to you by the Bank of Guam, the People's Bank, and Coast 360 Federal Credit Union. Together, we thrive.
KUAM News COVID-19 Takeover on I-94 FM is presented locally by Ambrose Inc.
GU Self-Storage, conveniently located near the Harmon McDonald's. We offer affordable rates, online payments, and auto bill pay for your convenience. Plus gate access daily from 6 a.m. to 9 p.m. Call us today at 648-7867 for more information.
With the new challenges we're all facing, First Hawaiian Bank wants to make sure you have access to your financial world. With FHB Online and our mobile app, we hope to make banking the least of your worries. Visit fhb.com/digital.
We hope that you and your loved ones are safe and healthy during the COVID-19 pandemic. It has been a challenging time for all, but now, more than ever, our cancer patients and caregivers need us. Although we are apart, we stand united in the fight against cancer. The American Cancer Society Guam is excited to announce our first virtual Relay for Life. Join us on Saturday, June 27th at 6:30 p.m. on KUAM TV 8, as well as on I-94 FM and streaming on KUAM News digital platforms. Cancer does not stop, and neither can we. On June 27th, let's celebrate together and fight cancer. Visit relayforlife.org/GuamGU to find out how you can participate in the 2020 virtual Relay for Life Guam.
Healthy.
It's not always easy trying something new. Sometimes you have to help your loved ones along. Nana is so used to her weekly trips to the bank that going online can be a little scary for her. But her grandson knows that banking online is safer and easier. So he's teaching her how to get started using Bank of Guam's online banking videos. Teaching is one way to show our loved ones we care. Keep your family safe at home and show them how to bank online. Find easy-to-use online banking tutorials at bankofguam.com or on our Instagram and Facebook pages. Bank of Guam, member FDIC.
Be healthy. Be informed with ITD.
Good morning. Hey, it's Containing COVID 744, and it's all proudly brought to you by Calvo Enterprises, Ambrose, IT&E, Coast 360, and the Bank of Guam. Sorry, I'm just trying to get, we got LT tomorrow, right? Tuesdays?
Yeah, Tuesdays with the Lieutenant Governor.
Just messaging Linda and Pingo de Norcy. Something we haven't even touched on this morning that I'm pretty sure we'll go into a little bit more as the show goes on is this revelation that airmen who are here on deployment and were staying at the Guam Reef Hotel did not follow the restricted movement orders. This is a story KUAM News broke on early on Saturday morning, and everyone else kind of jumped on it, and people are talking about this. How do we better and more stringently enforce the self-quarantine, not just on the civilian side, but also on the military side? Because I know they're military, but they're self-quarantining outside of the fence line. So I feel like there has to be a better involvement with public health. So I asked Linda last night, I was like, hey, everyone's talking about this. People are kind of a little anxious. You know what I mean? Because they don't, and she had said in the statement that she had provided to us that, yes, the airmen did not follow their orders. Yes, they went to places other than work on the base and to the Reef Hotel because that's all they were supposed to be doing was going to and from work.
So she said, so they arrived, as far as we know, on May 25th, right? They arrived to Guam, this unnamed unit that was deployed to Anderson Air Force Base, arrived on May 25th.
It's a top secret unit.
And they were supposed to be on quarantine for 14 days before they were supposed to do whatever it is that they're here for?
Right, well, they're on restricted movement, so they go to work, but they're allowed to work because there's a DOD exception, but what they're supposed to do is go from work on the base
and
to
back
the hotel,
to the Reef Hotel.
and that's it. That's all. That's not what happened, though. Linda basically confirmed, they were dining in restaurants. And if they were dining in restaurants, they were just going all over the place.
Right. What restaurants?
This is prior to them testing positive, so I think the big issue here was their exposure. And, public health is looking at this thing because obviously they are doing their job. That's what they're supposed to do. And I guess Linda just texted me, we're going to get someone to you tomorrow. So hold that thought, guys. We'll get someone on tomorrow to kind of answer this. I'm pretty sure, and I know I'm making light of it, but if they got to do their contact tracing investigation and that's what they're doing, I don't want to take away from that,
Right.
So,
I mean, I still want to know how many of them were deployed here.
Right.
Where did they come from? If we could know information about, like, the Theodore Roosevelt, where they were at, their movement, and how many were on the ship. I mean, that's public knowledge.
Yeah.
How many were on the ship. So, once we know how many, I just think it's the people's right to know.
Totally agree. And the military, they don't, though. Every time we try and ask a question, it's operational security, yada, yada, yada. Can't tell you that. It's top secret. If we tell you, have to kill you, and nobody wants to die. So we'll find out. We'll find out more about it. 7:48.
But also, like the Reef Hotel, you would think that they would be monitoring that as well.
Right.
If they noticed that these service members were going in and out of the hotel, you would think that they would track that and let public health know.
Maybe that's what happened. We just don't know. And then I'm thinking, where is the public health component? Where's the public health component? Because it's not these employees at the Reef. They're just working. They're not public health. They're not supposed to be I'm pretty sure they are. And I wonder if that's where the info came from, but it's not. What are they going to do? Oh, no, you can't leave the hotel. Hey, aren't you on restricted movement orders? No, there has to be some type of component, whether it's from the military or the public health side, that enforces these self-quarantine measures. And we know they do it on the civilian, on public health, they do it, because I know someone who was on and they call twice a day.
If I worked at Reef Hotel, I mean, I would be a little nervous right about now. I mean, look what happened with St. Anthony's after they found out a teacher tested positive there. They shut down the school until further notice.
Right. Did they shut down the Reef? No. In fact, I think they were still doing promos there.
So
that's got to be a crazy one. Where are you taking me for Father's Day? The Reef. Whoa there. What are you trying to tell me here? What are you trying to tell me, son?
Right.
7:49. So, yeah, we're going to be talking about this, and I'll give you all the info that we have, and we're constantly trying to get more. That being said, let's bring on the minority leader, Senator Tello Taitigui, for our weekly check-in. And I guess, Senator, while we're on this subject, do you think more needs to be done to kind of, God, for lack of a better term, police the military when they're outside the fence line relative to, them having to follow these orders that are put in place, not just to protect them, but to protect us?
Right. Well, first of all, good morning. Good morning, Chris, and good morning, Sabrina.
Good morning.
And once again, thank you for all you do. I tell you, when I need information, all I have to do is plug into you guys or review some of the taping that you've done earlier. So I appreciate everything you're doing. And, it's ironic that you mentioned that because I've been concerned since last week as the numbers were growing through the military. And it was at the very beginning in April when we had a conference with Admiral Manoni, and I mentioned that I'm seeing in an area that I live at, there are quite a bit of renters that are from the military, and they were out like 20, 30 of them playing volleyball, hanging out on the beach, doing, and I mentioned this to them. I said, this is not right. We're all in a lockdown, and these guys are out, thinking that they can't get infected or something, or not even listening to them, like nobody's paying attention because they're outside of the base. So I think a lot of it has to do with monitoring them outside of the base. You're absolutely right, Chris. And I see it all the time over here. I mentioned it. I tried to call them up, and nobody seems to be monitoring them. So, yeah, I hope now they start paying attention. Kind of late, though.
A little bit, right?
I mean, we're at 35 right now, just for DOD.
Mm-hmm.
And climbing. I mean, there was 22 on Saturday, right, Bree?
Yeah, 22. I couldn't. That was alarming.
Yeah, 22. It was a 7 and a 5, but I think they let their guard down. Like in June, the beginning of June, they just let their guard down. As soon as the Theodore Roosevelt left island, I think they just let their guard down. And
what we saw also, Senator, was over the weekend, Joint Region Marianas issued an advisory saying, hey, if you're active duty Marine, Navy, Coast Guard stationed on board Guam, you can't dine in any restaurants or go to any bars.
Yeah.
And I really think that was connected to the news because I had heard that, people got chewed out on the military side.
So. Well, I just hope they stand by those rules and that there is people monitoring them, really.
Right. Yeah. Because I think just saying, like, and we've had all the public health people, and you just hear it so much from the government of Guam side where they say, like, oh, it's the military because, when the military gives an order, it's serious. Like, those people, they have to follow those orders or they're going to get thrown in the brig and they're going to have to peel potatoes for 50 years if they don't follow. Yeah, and it's a little much. I mean, because I know dudes in the military. I mean, you tell me the military, they all follow orders like they're fighting in Tuman. Like, they're kids. They're young guys,
How do you
20-year-olds.
Yeah. How do you think this is going to impact our efforts to reopen tourism in about a week? At least that's the target deadline of July 1st. That's right. And when we hear about these service members that were allowed to roam around
we're going to reopen tourism. You guys can't get COVID?
No, this is definitely going to be a setback. I mean, remember the gauge that Dr. Cabrera said, if we have to go, my concern is that we're going to be placed back in PCOR 1. And that's the scary part. I mean, look at the numbers coming in, it just, or even PCOR 2. But, I don't know how this is going to happen, and I hope that the military does step up and do their part. Everyone should do their part, and not only just the military, but the local community as well, too. If you see something happen, you've got to report it. That's the only way that these people are going to be, put in their place, those who are breaking the rules. You have to report it. You can't just look the other way.
Yeah. Yeah, it definitely seems there needs to be a little more transparency.
On the military side. Yeah. I mean,
We started seeing the increase in the numbers on the situation report when it was like 2 DOD, 2 DOD, 1 DOD. And I remember this conversation with Chris. It was like, Chris, can you call Linda and ask her what's up with the DOD numbers? And lo and behold, that press release came out maybe a couple hours later that it was connected to this deployed unit to Anderson Air Force Base.
Mm-hmm.
And then here we are, 22 in one day.
That's got to mess with that rolling. And Senator, there's this whole formula, and I tried to get Dr. Cabrera, but he's not available this morning because he's kind of like the expert on this formula that they have.
Right.
But I just think that, I mean, I don't think we're going to go back to PCOR 2 because I think they've invested too much in what's going on with PCOR 3. And what I think they're going to do is they're going to try and find some way to explain away all of these DOD positives and say something like, oh, it's similar to the Roosevelt. They're in the base. We don't have to worry about it.
Well, that's another problem, too. They just lifted the ban on having the retirees, just retirees, from utilizing the commissary now all week. They only had them for the weekend, and now they lifted that ban and allowing it, 7 days a week now, that the retirees now can go to the commissary in the exchange. So are they going to go back to that ban again to only limiting the amount of time that the retirees can
Probably only if we keep complaining about the DOD positives.
Yes,
Right.
we should not say anything.
Oh, yeah, you guys want to complain? Well, there goes your monuncle rights in the commissary.
Well, transparency is most important because how many times have you heard when Admiral Manoni was in the press conference with the governor during her afternoon press releases and conferences that, a lot of times he abstained from answering the questions, like they were immune to any questions from the media, that they didn't have to give us any answers. So I think they should at least the governor ask Manoni to please, answer the questions of the media. The future on this island as well. We need to know what's going on, both inside and outside, because your military members don't only live inside the base, but they live outside amongst the community. Mm-hmm. So that's why transparency is so important on both ends.
Right.
I mean, I have, of course, the military. Oh wait, sorry. Okay. Sorry, Chris, go ahead. I just lost
No, I mean, I think the point we're all living on the same island. This is not like, they're not like 3 Guams here. This is just one Guam. We're all living in the same soil. So, let us know.
Exactly.
Be that good neighbor that you talk about being.
Yeah. I don't have very much time.
I know, Senator. That's why I want to just real quick, because I know you're busy. If you could, because we've worked on a whole bunch of stories last week, I wanted to get a comment from you because you've butted heads with him in the past. Congressman St. Nicholas and the formation of this ethics subcommittee, which, everyone says is huge. We haven't really heard anything from the delegate other than a couple sentences through Facebook Messenger. He was pretty busy on Facebook this weekend. We might talk about that later. But what's your reaction to this formation of the ethics subcommittee? I guess first your reaction, and then secondly, do you believe that this is something that the congressman can just kind of explain away or ignore?
Well, absolutely not ignore. He owes it to the people of Guam, the people who voted him in office. Transparency, and you can't do that just on Facebook. I mean, it's nice that he does it on Facebook. It's important because there's an audience there, but there is an audience that doesn't use Facebook, and that's a huge audience. They listen to the radio, like your show. They watch KUAM News and PNC News to get information, and he's refusing to do interviews. Why is that? I mean, the only reason a person doesn't want to do interviews is 2 things. One, he can't talk about it because it's under investigation. That's an obvious. Or 2, or you're hiding something. So let us know. Just let us know why you refuse to do any interviews. And then let the people of Guam make their own assumptions from it. But for him to hide out, I heard the interview of Dr. Robert Underwood, talk about this situation. And then I also heard the interview of one of his former staff members in D.C.
Right.
And, I haven't heard anything really positive on that part. I mean, nobody wishes anything bad to anybody, really. But if you are, holding a position as high as the congressman, and your reputation is a reflection of this island, you need to step up. You need to step up and defend yourself, or at least, give comfort to the people of Guam that you're working toward ensuring that this office's credibility stands strong in Washington, D.C. And if not, at least do the admirable thing and step down and allow this office to keep its dignity and its credibility in D.C. It's bad enough we mentioned it before. Remember the State of the Island address? His attendance is like the second to the, highest in no-shows. This is not good. I commend him for putting 50 million ads in the newspaper every day on what's going on with the CARES Act money coming into Guam. That's a good thing, but I think that's not the question here. The question here is his office and this investigation, and now going to a subcommittee. And we all know, I think I heard Congressman Kilili from Saipan, Sinamai, mentioning, he even tried to reach out to St. Nicholas to try and help out, like the good, brothers and sisters of Marianas, but he refused his help.
Right, yeah.
So,
and I think there's a lot of issues at play here, Senator. I think that even without the formation of this ethics subcommittee, the Congressman, St. Nicholas, that is taking credit for a lot of things that were already a done deal. Like the territories are included in all of these measures. They were included. A lot of why they were included was actually because of Congressman Kilili Sablan's work. So I think that even without this ethics subcommittee stuff, we're looking at our delegate. It's embarrassing. You got the second worst voting record in the House.
Yeah.
I mean, he's introduced a bunch of bills that really not fighting for Guam, they're fighting with Guam. Mm-hmm. And so he had a Facebook post over the weekend on a Father's Day weekend, and instead of, if I'm advising him, I would think, damn, Mike, you were in hot water. I mean, everyone's talking about it. I would either come out with something addressing the formation of the ethics subcommittee, or maybe a little touchy-feely Father's Day post. But instead, it was more of Mike St. Nicholas in the corner over in the States. He hasn't been home for the whole COVID. Remember that. Mm-hmm. Mike St. Nicholas in the corner lashing out at people. That's what he's good at doing.
Can I read a portion of this to you? Did you actually see it? The post that he made?
No, I haven't.
I'm just going to read just a little bit of it for you to respond. It's just too much for me to have to try to do local leaders' jobs or tell them how to do theirs or speak up on local operations because things aren't moving or because they're screwing up so badly what should be good outcomes for our people. I am just one man. Guam, please vote for new, capable, competent leaders.
Just one man.
It's pretty long, but that's just some of it.
Okay, now I got to read the whole entire thing.
Yeah, that's what we call a tease.
I get the gist of this, but I don't know about him. I constantly work 24/7. No matter what time it is, I take a call from any constituent or who needs help out there. It's important that we're always accessible, and that's one thing Congressman St. Nicholas hasn't really been from day one. Is it accessible? Especially to the media, which is important because that's where everybody gets most of their information. But, for him to say something, okay, don't throw stones, Mike, because, they can come right back to you.
Yeah.
But anyways, I know his mother very well. She's a good woman, and the family, I'm a Southern girl like he is too. And
yeah, he's a Southern girl.
Unbecoming of a Southerner.
Yeah, I thought it would be like, hey, my dad was awesome, even though I was accused of forging his signature, but he's an awesome guy. Hey, give it up for my dad. Vote Mike, something like that.
That's a federal issue.
I mean, to just really...
I'm wondering why they haven't brought that up. I mean, put all the other stuff down on his ethics or the subcommittee to investigate, but where's the forgery on... Now, that's on a federal level. That's a criminal act right there.
Right. Yeah.
But anyways, I just wanted to fill you in on this week's events.
Right.
And, something you might want to call Mr.
Right.
Joe San Augustine.
Senator, just let me get in real quick. Sorry, we're KUAM FM, Agotnia, Guam. Again, this is Containing COVID. It's the KUAM News Takeover of Guam's favorite. Proudly brought to you by Cabo Enterprises, Ambrose Inc., IT&E, Coast 360, and the Bank of Guam. Good morning to our KUAM TV 11 viewers on the line right now for our weekly update. We have Minority Leader Senator Tello Taitagui, who's right now in the process of telling us what's going on legislatively for this week.
Absolutely, and it's something that we're all excited to hear because we're going to get the next report from the CREC. That's why Joe San Augustine should be on, Senator San Augustine, giving you the report, because for us minorities in the legislature, we very rarely get this on time. I mean, we're like the last person to get the CREC. Usually I'd be calling KUAM, hey, can you guys give me a copy of that CRC? And this is going to tell us our financial conditions, and they're required by law to submit it to the legislature by the 21st of every month. We're going to see where we are, and hope you can get them online so I can listen in and find out on the Republican side what's going on. Yeah. Secondly, we have all kinds of budget hearings coming up this week, almost 3 a day, and that's for agencies, departments, and we'll be listening to them all this week and listening to their requests for their budgets and finding out if any of them are going to actually, lower their amount or tell us what can they do, the minimal bare necessities that you really need to finish or to go through 2021, and actually tell us what's happening during 2020 with regards to their budget right now. That's just as important. We still have until October 1st to finish out the 2020, and if we are finding out we're, $8 million to $4 million short, it's going to come from somebody's pocket. So that's what we have this week going on. Tune in.
Are you guys doing a petition drive and voter registration at Adelup this week?
I think if the Republicans are going to do one, they're going to do one that's not going to be controversial or, a little bit on that borderline of, an ethics issue or definitely a civil service issue, civil service commission issue. No, I think we would do somewhere that would not be questionable.
Right.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay,
Senator. Thank you so much for the opportunity. Of course. And by the way, I'm having one of my staff too as well, learning exactly how to work this unemployment application and online, so that if anybody needs help and can't seem to get through, there's a lot of people, and I look at the time frames out there. It's awesome that they're allowing libraries, areas, GCC doing their part. But I think that we can do more, and that is, at least senators' offices can assist individuals on these applications, filling it out.
Right.
So it is. But anyways, thank you. It is what it is. Create a great day, everybody. It's up to you how you want your day to be. So create a great day.
Thank you, Senator. Wash your hands.
Okay, thank you.
Okay,
stay safe.
All right, there you go. Minority Leader Senator Tello Taitagui. It's 8:07. Let's do our anthems, and we'll come back with a day's dive into the COVID-19 headlines right here on Containing COVID. Good morning.
By the dawn's early light.
Panogita moru purita nonda kantai mantunat nyagi toru ilugar para ion ra para I gloria abibai islasen para honra, para y gloria, abiba islasen para. Gitodu y tempo y paz, para ita, dan gini langit na bendición. Contra y peligro na fansafuham dus protegis langom. Contra y peligro na fansafuham dus protegis langom.
Keeping you informed, KUAM News brings you Banking 671, brought to you by the Bank of Guam, the People's Bank, and Coast 360 Federal Credit Union. Together, we thrive.
KUAM News COVID-19 Takeover on I-94 FM is presented.
I want to shout out Peter Mayer, Jesse Alec. You guys can see this here. That's how we roll. Thank you, Mayor. They had a great trivia night thing this Friday. We'll try and get Ken on to talk about that, but good morning. Talking about mayors, we'll have Mayor Luis Rivera on the show in a bit. It's 8:12. So many ways to catch it. To catch it on the radio, KUAM FM 93.9, Agotni, Guam. It is Guam's favorite, I-94. Also, KUAM.com, the KUAM News app. There's an audio stream, Docomo Channel 10. And we're on KUAM TV 11, where we throw the last half of the show. Good morning. On to KUAM TV 11. And, of course, last but not least, on the Edward R. Murrow award-winning social media networks of KUAM. Good morning to our Facebook Live viewers on the KUAM News Facebook page. Let's do it. Let's take a dive into the day's COVID-19 headlines from the KUAM News team with the very latest. Good morning, Sabrina Salas-Mantanani.
Hafaday, good morning, everyone. The total count of COVID cases on Guam jumped significantly over the weekend. On Saturday, 22 additional cases tested positive for COVID-19 through the Department of Defense. 20 of those positive cases were identified through contact tracing among service members in a unit deployed to Andersen Air Force Base, bringing the total cases associated with this particular unit to 35. The other 2 cases were identified through screening at Andersen Air Force Base and were healthcare workers who reported contact to cases of COVID-19. The total number of COVID cases on Guam is now 222. 5 deaths, 173 recoveries, and 44 active cases. The Air Force refuses to respond to inquiries regarding the unit in terms of where the service members are deployed from and how many people are assigned to this deployed unit. They are citing operational security reasons. All we know is that the unit deployed to Andersen Air Force Base arriving on May 25th and stayed at the Reef Hotel in Tumon. One of the service members started showing symptoms on June 11th and tested positive at Naval Hospital the following day. According to a press release, all service members assigned to the unit were rapidly placed in isolation and have since been relocated to the Jigo Air Base and are under medical observation in accordance with CDC protocols. Meanwhile, Public Health Director Linda Pinco DeNorsi confirms her department is conducting contact tracing investigations because these airmen who were supposed to be on restricted movement orders did not follow those orders prior to testing positive for COVID-19. Quote, DPHSS contact investigation and tracing team continues to work collaboratively with the Air Force's Public Health Flight Commander to conduct contact investigations and contact tracing on all COVID-19 cases. She adds once information is confirmed regarding close contacts and venues visited, Public Health will notify individuals and provide an update to the public. KUAM asked Donorsi if she knew the airmen violated those orders by dining in restaurants and going to other locations outside what their orders allowed. She responded, quote, yes, and that Public Health is doing contact tracing off base and military is doing it on base. On Friday, Joint Region Marianas orders barring all Navy, Marine Corps, and Coast Guard stationed on board Guam from dining in restaurants and going out to bars until June 25th. Meanwhile, permanent and temporary Air Force personnel at Anderson Air Force Base must still limit travel to essential trips only, such as grocery shopping, the gas station, and pharmacy. The policy will remain in effect until further directed. The first batch of long-awaited checks for the Pandemic Unemployment Assistance Program should be in the hands of Guam's displaced workers possibly by the end of today. Department of Labor Director David De La Sola says that today they will begin processing PUA benefits. Error-free claims filed through June 1st will be processed by the Department of Administration. De La Sola saying soon about $33 million in checks and electronic transfers will be distributed to our people, with more on its way as we continue to adjudicate PUA claims. Last Friday, DOL was able to complete successful transaction tests and has been working over the weekend to deliver the first batch of unemployment benefits to applicants by the end of today. The total number of claims to be paid will be based on the number of clean claims processed. Meanwhile, GDOL's processing center at the Guam Community College continues to offer in-person applications, but you make an appointment first. Additionally, their roving library application centers are ongoing. Today, the Department of Labor will return to the Dededo Library. Again, you need to make an appointment before heading there. A quick update on stimulus checks, specifically EIP checks issued by the Department of Revenue and Taxation. The agency processed 1,536 EIP program payments totaling about $2.36 million altogether for the months of April, May, and June. DRT processed about 67,800 EIP program payments totaling about $124.3 million. This represents about 92% of the estimated $134.8 million, which was approved by the IRS and the U.S. Treasury. There's a new director at the Department of Parks and Recreation. In an interview with Department of Public Works Deputy Director Jess Garcia on our interactive radio show containing COVID this morning, he announced that effective today that he was taking over as the acting director of Parks and Recs, while John Birch has been moved to the Ancestral Lands Commission as director there. His transfer follows his controversial decision to kick the homeless out of several public parks, including Paseo, last week, so that the government can prioritize their focus on cleaning the parks as part of their efforts to reopen tourism. Garcia says he was notified he was taking over at Parks and Recs late Friday afternoon. Birch, you may recall, was on our show Friday morning explaining why the homeless were kicked out of the parks and defending how his agency was short-staffed and tasked with multiple responsibilities. With updated guidelines they say are more practical, daycare facilities are preparing to open up today. Adriana Cotero visits the World of Wonder Child Care and Learning Center in Jigo to see how they are preparing.
It's a birthday wish come true.
It was my birthday yesterday and someone messaged me and said, hey, you got your birthday wish.
Administrator and managing owner of World of Wonder Child Care and Learning Center, Manette Dizan, received the notice yesterday evening from the Department of Public Health announcing daycare centers can reopen Monday at 50% client occupancy.
So 50%, and I was like, oh, that's great. So that means we can have 20 kids now.
The occupancy does not include staff, which means 8 employees can also come back to work on Monday. However, earlier this week, that was not the case, and this brought the Daycare Association knocking on the doors of Adelup.
There was actually a meeting that we, our Daycare Association officers attended. It had our licensor there. It had the physician advisory group. Everyone was venting their concerns, and Public Health is the division that supports daycares. They were also frustrated for us and saying that it doesn't make sense, 25%, and for it to include the staff.
This united front's concerns were heard, leading Dizon to spend the morning training her staff immediately in preparation for the reopen.
It was a training to review our new procedures and policies, everything from how the kids will be dropped off, how will they be picked up, how will we do circle time, how will we sanitize and clean, how will we do social distancing in the playground.
For this center, they are following a 10-page policy guideline that outlines the new operations. Dizon says all her clients were happy to hear the news, and they have already received 2 new enrollments.
And one of our new enrollees is, they are, frontline nurse. Yeah. Now she gets to go back to work. They need daycare. They're going to lose their job if they can't go to work. And so I think a combination of everyone saying that, daycares are essential businesses is what, prompted them to change the requirement to 50%.
Guidelines are more practical, and now parents' wishes to go back to work can also come true. Reporting for Guam's News Network, I'm Adriana Cotero.
Some tragic news over the weekend. At around 8 o'clock Sunday morning, GFD rescue swimmers located the body of an 18-year-old swimmer that went missing Saturday afternoon. According to GFD spokesperson Kevin Riley, the male victim was recovered approximately 200 yards south of the last seen location off the cliff line behind Marbo Cave. On Saturday, GFD and units from Coast Guard Sector Guam responded to a report of a distressed swimmer. The young male was part of a group of 5 hikers that went to a popular area to jump into the ocean from the cliff line approximately 25 feet high. After landing in the water, the young male was pulled out by the current and unable to return. In national news, President Trump held his first rally in months in Tulsa, Oklahoma. And although the event may be one of the biggest indoor gatherings in the country since COVID-19 restrictions went into effect, it was a much smaller crowd than the campaign expected. Omar Villafranca has the latest.
5 months from now, we're going to defeat Sleepy Joe Biden.
President Trump's first campaign rally since March comes as coronavirus cases are spiking in Oklahoma and many states across the U.S.
We saved hundreds of thousands of lives, and all we do is get hit on like we're terrible.
Earlier, some Trump supporters who planned to attend seemed conflicted about the risk of entering a crowded space.
I have hand sanitizer on me. We have masks for whenever we get, less, 6 feet away.
No intentions on wearing masks. We're healthy individuals. We hope everyone here is only coming here if they assume the risk of being out here today.
President Trump's campaign announced Saturday that 6 staff members who helped set up for the rally have tested positive for the virus. Organizers conducted temperature checks and provided hand sanitizer. Masks were also handed out, but not required. President Trump has been highly anticipating this night to gain momentum from his base.
I stand before you today to declare the silent majority is stronger than ever before.
He loves to unite people.
We have a lot of turmoil going on, and I think he can swell that a little bit.
Just before the indoor rally got underway, plans for the president and vice president to also address a crowd outside the venue were canceled. Omar Villafranca, CBS News, Tulsa, Oklahoma.
Senior Trump administration official says the president was speaking in jest when he made comments during a speech about having wanted to slow down COVID-19 testing. In your Banking 671 report, the Bank of Guam today is reopening its Naval Station branch from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. and closed on Saturday. Additionally, the bank's Hagåtña and Saipan Garapan branches have updated their hours. Effective today, the Hagåtña drive-through is 8 a.m. to 3 p.m. The Hagåtña branch is 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. The Garapan drive-through and walk-up is 8 a.m. to 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and the Garapan branch is from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. The Upper Tumon, Anderson, Mangilao, and Jigo branches continue their 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. hours, with all branches closed Saturday. The Tumon branch drive-through is closed. All opened branches now offer all branch services with new accounts and loan originations. Available by appointment only, and you can email at appointments@bankofguam.com or other customer support channels for scheduling. Meanwhile, Coast 360 warns you not to be intimidated by pressure, threats, or confusion tactics of scammers that often use scare tactics and coerce victims into acting quickly before they can look deeper into their lies. Never respond to threats and or demands for payment or your personal information. Learn about how legitimate businesses or government agencies might contact you by visiting their website or calling a number that you know to be genuine. That is your Banking 671 report, brought to you by the Bank of Guam and Coast 360. And finally, at KUAM, we're very honored to be a part of this year's Relay for Life, as we have been for many years. And with 2020 being a particularly difficult time where we can't all do the fun activities together, our spirit and focus remains strong in battling cancer on our island. And so we've come up with a special way for us to once again unite our hearts and minds and show the world cancer can't beat us. It's the KUAM Dance Challenge. You can download a song on our Facebook page by our late colleague and brother, KC Savage K Conception. The song is Live Life Alive, which he wrote and performed before he started his own battle against cancer. Send your dance challenge clips to KUAM Dance Challenge at KUAM.com. And here is a sneak peek of some of those submissions.
Never give up, never stay down, stand back up, put your feet on the ground. We all know we must fight to survive, so live life alive, it's alright. Never give up, never stay down, stand back up, put your feet on the ground. We all know we must fight to survive, so live life alive, it's alright. Never give up.
And join the fight against cancer. Send us your video to KUAM Dance Challenge at KUAM.com. You can also just post your dance video on your social media. Just use the hashtag KUAM Dance Challenge, and we will be combining all of the submissions for a special montage of all of us doing the same dance with the same spirit.
But not the same moves.
I think Ty and Vic's
thank God.
version was way better than ours. We're going to have to redo ours so we don't look that bad. But yeah, please get your clips in today. Don't forget to watch the virtual Relay for Life on June 27th on KUAM TV 8 and our digital platforms. We go live at 6:30 p.m. on June 27th. So please, again, get your videos in today. I think tomorrow will be the last day that we're going to accept the videos. So again, the dance is super easy. And send it in.
All right. You lost me at we're going to have to do it again. I was just like, what? 8:27. Good morning. Let's keep it on the phones here, where it's an issue we really discussed last on Friday. And we wanted to bring Angelina from the Guam Homeless Coalition on to kind of talk about this issue. Angelina, I guess we'll just... Good morning, by the way. Chris and Sabrina, thanks for joining us.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I guess we'll just start at the beginning. What was your initial reaction when you found out about the homeless being told to vacate the pavilions at Paseo? And if you and other parks. And how did you find out?
So actually we found out when somebody shared it from Facebook. It's been, when the issue came up before with the shelter in Agana many months ago, it seems like prior to COVID, we were shocked then too, because we had not been made aware that they were even considering that. And at the time I mentioned to you that we at the coalition, we realized that homelessness is a community issue. It's not one that any one entity can solve. And so we were really disappointed when we weren't made aware of the efforts that the administration was putting forth. And in this situation, when these people were told to vacate Paseo, we were really shocked because No one had ever consulted with us or just informed us that this is what they were going to do, so that we as an entity could come out and do some outreach and try and assist them. You know, there was a situation when there were some homeless people squatting in a house up in Dededo, near Guma San Jose, and when Gura was looking at tearing those buildings down or repurposing them, they reached out to the coalition and asked us to go out, do outreach, see what kind of services we can provide. You know, it was a very coordinated effort. And in this situation, I was really shocked because the administration has reached out to us to meet sporadically about the hardened shelter. And we've given our input several times, and it's so easy for them to call us when they need it. But in this situation, I was just surprised that no one had reached out to any of us, and we all, you know, we spoke amongst ourselves that none of the entities had been approached as coming out to see if we can assist those people who were there before they were chased out.
Mm-hmm. But, you know, Mr. Birch, he explain to us, you know, the bigger, we have to look at the bigger picture here, where we have to clean up these public parks, get them ready as we prepare to reopen tourism, and, you know, that's the center of our economy.
Mm-hmm.
How would you respond to that?
I do agree that is an important effort that needs to be made. I'm not saying that it shouldn't be done. I'm just saying that if the administration announced that they were going to build a shelter or create some sort of thing there in Agana, and then now plans have changed and they're chasing these people out, then they should have offered, reached out and said, we can't do this, but can the different entities of the Homeless Coalition come out and see how we can assist these people who can no longer stay here.
Right.
Mm-hmm. When's the last time, I guess, the administration has reached out to the Homeless Coalition?
As far as I'm aware, it's the Homeland Security has reached out to us a few times to participate in their planning meetings for the hardened shelter. It's been a while.
Who at Homeland Security is the POC, point of contact?
Maria, I'm sorry, I can't even say her last name. It starts with an R.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so we've met with them a couple of times, along with our the director from Gora. You know, that we had a meeting with our Homeless Coalition officers to discuss the shelter and our views on it. We offered our input, and at that time, we had told them that the homeless needed assistance now. They didn't need to wait until the hardened shelter came up. And so our proposal at the time was that we do a joint outreach with public health, because the concern was the spread of COVID. And they just kept pushing towards the hardened shelter. So on the side, public health is a very integral partner in the Homeless Coalition. So our entities got together and we just planned our own outreach, which is what was done not too long ago by public health at the different locations. And so that project was what we were pushing to do from the beginning. You know, we don't want to wait until there's a hardened shelter to come up with these services that need to be done. And the push has always been, I feel, from the administration standpoint, to do the hardened shelter. You know, which is fine. They have a plan. They have a end in mind. That's fine. You know, as I said before, we all need to work together to solve the problem of homelessness. But it can't be a this is my way or no way at all.
Mm-hmm. Well, I was going to just ask, you know, what is your response to the argument that, you know, well, some of the homeless people, they don't want to go into a hardened shelter, or shelter for that matter. They don't want to, you know, get a job.
They like being homeless. Because we were hearing that. That's actually something that John Birch had said, was that, and you know, to me, I think that's anecdotal. Like, maybe, sure, there's a couple that, you know, whatever.
Is that something you guys have ran into?
I agree with what you're saying, that there's different reasons why people are homeless and different reasons why they stay homeless. But it's just like you can't say that all Chamorros are lazy. You can't say that all homeless don't want to be housed. I mean, I'm Chamorro. I'm not lazy. Chris, Sabrina, you're not lazy. You know what I'm saying? You cannot make a generalization like that.
That's why I always ask for numbers. Yeah. Like if you're going to throw something like that out, and I think the intent is that when they throw that out there, that all of a sudden you're supposed to be like, oh, okay, that they want it. Never mind, guys. It's cool. Stand down.
It's a very real thing to say is that a lot of people who have been street homeless have difficulty being housed. It's not that they don't want to be housed, but you know, if you were to put them, let's say, in an apartment, they're going to want all the windows, all the doors. That feeling of being enclosed is something difficult to transition to. But, you know, just like when we have our homeless outreaches, one year, one of our members had this great idea that we were going to have our passport services at a Ganya shopping center because they offered the venue. But none of the homeless wanted to come inside to access services because there's this stigma. Right. You know, they're like, I'm dirty. I you know, these people always chase us out of here. So we quickly learned our lesson that, okay, this is not happening. So we took all our stuff out of the facility into the parking lot and we helped them there. Because the purpose isn't to say, oh, we look good, here we are. It's like to get out there and help these people.
Right.
So from that point on, we've been doing it at Paseo. We went back to our original what's worked in the past, which was Paseo Mayor's office. So these people who are homeless, if you reach out to any of our homeless outreach teams, they can probably very easily identify who the regulars are, who the people are that they've been working with. Just as you know, it takes a lot of us many years to decide to go back to school. Even more so, somebody who's been homeless, it takes a while for them to like get to that point where they're ready to be housed. You know, there's all these barriers in place, like you know, employment and education and just feeling like nobody cares and that you're just saying this right now, but what happens if you put me there and it doesn't work out? I'm going to lose this place that I call my own. So there's a lot of things to consider.
Angelina, what's the status of the shelters that we do have on island?
So we have Guma San Jose up in Dededo, and we have the men's shelter, Guma San Jose Men's Shelter. Those are our only two long-term homeless shelters. Sanctuary has facility for youth, and of course there's places like Alley, which is specific to that population. But when COVID happened, all of these shelters had they stopped taking in new people because they're trying to, you know, minimize. So once you were there, if you left, you couldn't come back. So the shelters, when we had our last Homeless Coalition meeting, they reported that they were all full, and are starting to take in some new clients, some maybe just as an I don't want to say outpatient, but more of a drop-in. But we definitely need more help than what we have available.
Right.
GORA has some new funding. They're looking at ways they can expand it. We have money to house people who meet certain criteria, and if they don't meet that criteria, then we reach out to our partners to see what we can do to assist them.
You know, based on the outreach that you guys conducted with the expanded testing and the passport services that was held a couple of weeks ago, did you guys see any, I don't know if you guys are doing numbers, but did you see an increase in homeless?
You know, we do track our numbers every time we conduct these outreaches. Off the top of my head, I can't remember the numbers that we had found. There wasn't too many new people, individuals and families. Whenever we do an outreach, if there is a family with young children, we immediately try and see what we can do to get them off the street. And then a lot of times when it's individuals or couples, they're people that we've been working with. And, you know, like I said, it's not a we have a house come and they come in today, it's a process of building a rapport with them and ensuring that they understand that we're not just talking, that we're really trying to help you. What are your unique situations? Because once we house you, we want to prevent you from becoming homeless again. So, there's a lot of things to consider. And our Homeless Coalition partners are really, they really have their heart into the work that we do. And so it gets frustrating when we hear things like this, where they're being chased out of Paseo, and all of us were like, what? They call us for everything. Why didn't they call us and say, oh, we're going to chase these people out, just so you know, and then we would just take it upon ourselves to go out and do outreach.
So when you found out, though, was there any kind of conversation that happened after you heard about them being kicked out of the parks?
Did you call someone and shoo somebody out?
It was the Facebook post that came on, and then our officers were discussing it, trying to find out, before we jumped the gun, did they really reach out to any of us? It doesn't have to be the coalition as a whole, but did they reach out to GURA? Did they reach out to Public Health? Manyatlu, who may need to provide some sort of translation services, or any of us, and the consensus was no. And I felt like a lot of our members felt discouraged that here we are trying to talk about Hardin Shelter, and there's people here who need help, and you didn't reach out to us for that, but we're so focused on this Hardin Shelter, which, in the long run, it might be a good thing, but today, these people need help today, and what are we doing?
Yeah, so Angelina, we know that, again, they're saying that we're close to something this week, right? But you're right, today, what are we going to do today? What type of a solution would you, if you were calling the shots, what type of solution would you want them to do? Are you could we use maybe CARES Act funding for something temporary? Because I think that's one of the ways you could use that CARES Act funding. So I guess just stopgap, right? You're talking stopgap,
right?
Because it is a bad look. We kick them out of Paseo, then we don't kick them out because there's a big backlash, and then they're continuing to stay there. Do you think that it behooves our government to maybe put them up at a room somewhere, or not? I'm not saying 5-star, but I mean, God, something.
I've heard some of the comments about we've been paying for these rooms and Noah was in it. Could we just put them there? That it's an option if they wanted to pursue that. But then the same thing I was saying, how the homeless didn't want to come into a Gagnon shopping center for our outreach. Who knows if all of them or any of them would be willing to go into whatever hotel is being used at that time. The thing that gets me is that many of these people who did not already stay in Agana came to Agana when this announcement was put out. And so it just doesn't seem right that you say, hey, we're going to do this here, everybody come here. Then when they're there, you say, go away because we're not ready to do it and you're in our way.
Yeah.
I wanted to follow up with what you were saying after establishing within the coalition that nobody knew about this eviction. What happened after that?
So this was a conversation we had, I don't remember if it was Thursday or Friday night. We were talking about it, trying to say, no one had reached out to us. And so our different groups conduct regular outreaches and different organizations within the coalition. And Paseo and the people there is someone that we've reached out to in the past. So I believe that some of them who had a Friday outreach went there. I don't know if there's anyone today who's heading that way, but they're very much aware of who these people are because we've reached out to them in the past. As we watched the interview on, I guess.
That was us.
Oh, disconnected.
Well, I'm pretty sure she's going to call back. We'll take just a real quick break, and we'll get Angelina back on to wrap this conversation at 8:44. It's Containing COVID. Good morning.
Keeping you informed, KUAM News brings you Banking 671, brought to you by the Bank of Guam, the People's Bank, and Coast 360 Federal Credit Union. Together, we thrive.
KUAM News COVID-19 Takeover on I-94 FM is presented locally by Ambrose Inc.
GU Self-Storage, conveniently located near the Harmon McDonald's. We offer affordable rates, online payments, and auto bill pay for your convenience. Plus gate access daily from 6 a.m. to 9 p.m. Call us today at 648-7867 for more information.
With the new challenges we're all facing, First Hawaiian Bank wants to make sure you have access to your financial world. With FHB Online and our mobile app, we hope to make banking the least of your worries. Visit fhb.com/digital.
We hope that you and your loved ones are safe and healthy during the COVID-19 pandemic. It has been a challenging time for all, but now, more than ever, our cancer patients and caregivers need us. Although we are apart, we stand united in the fight against cancer. The American Cancer Society Guam is excited to announce our first virtual Relay for Life. Join us on Saturday, June 27th at 6:30 p.m. on KUAM TV 8, as well as on I-94 FM and streaming on KUAM News digital platforms. Cancer does not stop, and neither can we. On June 27th, let's celebrate together and fight cancer. Visit relayforlife.org/GuamGU to find out how you can participate in the 2020 virtual Relay for Life Guam.
Be healthy. Be informed with IT&E.
That come natural. Take all of your problems, forget them all. Turn a bad day upside down. Turn a date into a perfect scene from a movie. It's that sweet, sweet, sweet smell of your hair when you step out of the shower. Make a wish. Now close your eyes. Now open up. We made it come true, true, true. When you
Wow,
step
that's an old
into
one.
my world, I'll jump if you jump with
Joey Monforti, My Sweet World. Where we definitely go local and support local music all throughout the show. That's all you're going to hear here on Containing COVID. 8:48. Let's jump right back into our conversation with Angelina Lepay of the Guam Homeless Coalition. Sorry about that. I don't know what Bree touched over there, but
Yay.
That's okay.
so I forgot where we were.
We were talking about after it was established that no one in the Guam Homeless Coalition was notified about the eviction.
Did you guys get in touch with somebody, and then what was the conversation when you did?
Honestly, when things like that happen, we don't bother reaching out to those people who may have made that announcements or things like that. We go out and we do the outreach to the homeless. So regardless of what's going on for a more political level, if you may, it's not our role to go in and argue with them and say, hey, why'd you do this? Why didn't you do that? Why didn't you tell us this? The Homeless Coalition has always been we're service-minded. So whatever you guys got going on, these people are here now that we know they're still there and they're going to be kicked out. let's go out and see what they may need or how we can help them.
Mm-hmm.
And then you guys just argue amongst yourselves and figure out what you want to do.
So when you went out to and you did the outreach, what were they saying, the homeless?
So one of our biggest groups that goes out regularly is Catholic Social Services.
Yeah.
I haven't spoken to Diana yet to see what they may have suggested or said, but our caseworkers who go out there, we have Diana has a nurse on her team as well. When they go out there, they're talking to them about what their unique situations are, whether they're document ready, whether they meet any of the criteria for the various COC funded programs. You mentioned earlier about the CARES Act. There's different things involved with the CARES Act, different purposes, and GURA is looking very closely because of their increased funding at what other things they can provide, or how else they may assist with this additional funding. So it's nothing different than what we normally do. We just go out there and, yes, I'm sorry this happened. Let's not focus on this. Let's focus on what do you need and how can we support you. You know, in the past when someone was ready to get a job, let's say, and then they didn't have an ID, they got a construction job and they didn't have the steel toe shoes that they needed, then the coalition steps in to assist with those, you know, pay for it, get them through that process. As far as housing, there's different things. You can't just say, you know, there's this apartment here, we can put you in tomorrow. There's certain things that need to be done, right? Like making sure they have their documents. There's also certain things we can do to ensure that we get them off the streets as soon as we can. But it's working with them, as I said before, on what their priorities are, what their stage of readiness is. And just because they say, I'm not ready to move in today, doesn't mean we're going to give up and stop talking to them and stop assisting them with all those other things they may need.
You know, there's one of the guys there is in Agotnia. He was at Paseo when I was at Paseo, and then when I ended up checking out another group over by the taxi stand area, this is more by Autospot, I ran into the same guy, and he was already moving away from Paseo because on that day, Thursday, they were told they were given till end of day to vacate. And I started talking with this other group that was over there by the Autospot area, and man, this guy was born in Chamorro guy, born in California, actually from a pretty prominent family. Born in California, came back to Guam, was staying with his dad. You know, what he had told me, his dad's girlfriend didn't like him. There was some issues that he had with the girlfriend's son. Ended up being kicked out on the street with no ID. I mean, no birth certificate, no driver's license, no social security card, no nothing. Yeah. And so we're talking, and I remember when I lost my ID just to get I lost, I think, a social security card, or so. It was just, and I had my birth certificate. It was near impossible to do. So I can't even imagine this guy and you guys trying to, like, you know, get him back into.
It's even harder when they're from the outer islands, which is when groups like Maneli really are integral for assisting us. That's something that they just, you know, they've got these connections, and even if it's, you know, my father's brother works at Robin Tax and Chuk or whatever it may be, they work that magic, and they're like, okay, here's this person. The only barrier is that he needs an ID so he can do this, but he was not born and raised on Guam. We have no copy of a birth certificate. So they'll work with the government in Chuk to get what they need, you know. So there are things in place, and that's why I said some of these people who are out there, our outreach teams are very familiar with them because we've been working with them. When there is somebody new, we know right away, oh, that's not someone we've heard about, and so the outreach team will go out, look for them at the last place we found them. And the thing is, it's not like we give up. We don't give up until we find them. Like, we'll go there earlier the next day, or the other people will say, oh, that person usually is over there on this day. So
you're right. They all know. They all know where they're at. Yeah, because I'll be like, hey, what about other guys? Like, oh no, he's over on that side. And
or if we ask them, do you know anyone who has a child with them? Then they'll point us to the direction, and you know.
I think it's insane that I'm listening to you speak, and you've been speaking for the past 3 minutes, and knowing how knowledgeable and all the services that you guys provide to the homeless population, that you guys weren't contacted.
I think I know. I mean,
I just can't understand why.
It's nuts. But I think I might have an idea why. Is that I think the directive to boot the homeless, I don't think that was an Adelup thing. I think that was a tourism thing, and that would fall under former Governor Gutierrez. And so when we interviewed John Birch, he never had mentioned anything about the admin or whatever. It was all open the economy, tourism. So when we had interviewed former Governor Carl, he had said that he wanted to address the issue of the homeless. I just didn't think that by addressing it, you meant, kick them out. I thought it was going to be a little more.
Well, this is
humane.
the people helping people, Governor, okay?
Right. So maybe that's why I didn't tell you guys.
Yeah, and when you think about it, really, if you did not know anything about homeless on Guam, you could Google it, homeless on Guam, and it'll come up, like all these different entities. And then maybe you didn't know about the Homeless Coalition, but when you do an internet search, you'll see, who are these people? Let me see how I can get a hold of somebody. It's very easy to do, right? We Google everything. We Google where we can get the best steak today. Why can't we Google that? To me, there's no reason.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
And if anything, they could say, well, Chris Barnett, he talks to those people all the time. Chris, do you have a number?
Right.
I mean, it's very easy to reach out to someone.
No, I agree.
You've interviewed someone. Do you have a number for who we can reach? I mean, hello.
Yeah, I hear you.
Yeah, frustrating. It's frustrating that you guys are basically the homeless first responders, yet you're the last to know.
Yeah.
All right. Well.
I thought it was just me, but yeah.
No.
I reached out and I'm like, I know sometimes I get busy, miss my work. Did they reach out to any of you guys? Because we don't want to disparage anyone if they are working with someone in our group. It doesn't have to be the Homeless Coalition as a whole. Any one of us, because it is a no wrong door approach. If you go to Manjatlu but you need assistance with food, then they will coordinate and send you to Salvation Army Food Bank. We work very closely together, so you reach out to any one of us. If we're not the right fit, then we will find someone who is.
And that's good to know for our listeners out there in case anyone ever wants to reach out to you guys. You reach one, you reach them all.
Yeah, it's really a no wrong door approach.
Thank you, Angelina.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, you guys have a great day.
All right, wash your hands.
Okay, bye-bye.
Okay, bye.
Thank you.
8:57. Yep, lack of communication. Hey, we're going to take a short break, Bree.
Okay.
And come back with more of the Containing COVID multimedia broadcast extravaganza. Good morning.
Keeping you informed, KUAM News brings you Banking 671, brought to you by the Bank of Guam, the People's Bank, and Coast 360 Federal Credit Union. Together, we thrive.
KUAM News COVID-19 Takeover on I-94 FM is presented locally by Ambrose Inc.
GU Self-Storage, conveniently located near the Harmon McDonald's. We offer affordable rates, online payments, and auto bill pay for your convenience. Plus gate access daily from 6 a.m. to 9 p.m. Call us today at 648-7867 for more information.
With the new challenges we're all facing, First Hawaiian Bank wants to make sure you have access to your financial world. With FHB Online and our mobile app, we hope to make banking the least of your worries. Visit fhb.com/digital.
We hope that you and your loved ones are safe and healthy during the COVID-19 pandemic. It has been a challenging time for all, but now, more than ever, our cancer patients and caregivers need us. Although we are apart, we stand united in the fight against cancer. The American Cancer Society Guam is excited to announce our first virtual Relay for Life. Join us on Saturday, June 27th at 6:30 p.m. on KUAM TV 8, as well as on I-94 FM and streaming on KUAM News digital platforms. Cancer does not stop, and neither can we. On June 27th, let's celebrate together and fight cancer. Visit relayforlife.org/GuamGU to find out how you can participate in the 2020 virtual Relay for Life Guam.
healthy. Be informed with IT&E.
It's not always easy trying something new. Sometimes you have to help your loved ones along. Nana is so used to her weekly trips to the bank that going online can be a little scary for her. But her grandson knows that banking online is safer and easier, so he's teaching her how to get started using Bank of Guam's online banking videos. Teaching is one way to show our loved ones we care, keep your family safe at home, and show them how to bank online. Find easy-to-use online banking tutorials at bankofguam.com or on our Instagram and Facebook pages. Bank of Guam, member FDIC.
Be healthy. Be informed with IT&E.
Good morning. Love this one. It's a cover. My Love, Serena and Page. 902 or KUM FM. I got in Guam. It's containing COVID. Good morning. Morning, Bree.
Good morning, everybody.
We're proudly sponsored by Cabo Enterprises, Ambrose Inc., IT&E, Coast 360, and the Bank of Guam. I think we're going to read, are we going to read a reading from the book of Congressman St. Nicholas? This got me. This is at a time when everybody and their brother and mother is asking the congressman to talk about this formation of a House Ethics Subcommittee to investigate him. I haven't really got anything other than a couple sentences on Facebook Messenger, but the congressman, he does this when he feels attacked. You'll see him attack and do a Facebook post that just calls out every other single elected leader on this island is crooked except for me. And true to form, that's what we saw over the weekend with is that about a foot long Facebook post?
Pretty long.
Pretty long. As the congressman continues to be hunkered down in the American states. He has not come back a single time during the COVID. In fact, I don't think he's been here since that Veterans Town Hall, which I can Google for. It's months. It's been months, really, it has. And so he did pop up on Facebook. What do you got, Bree?
Okay, so he posted this on his Facebook page over the weekend. It says, as I reflect deeply during this anniversary and Father's Day weekend on the impact of the fact that public service has been the reality in more than 50% of my married life, 75% of my son's life, and 90% of my daughter's life, I am firmly resolved to shorten this labor of love if the people of Guam do not resoundingly change out the incompetence of local leadership. It's just too much for me to have to try to do local leaders' jobs or tell them how to do theirs or speak up on local operations because things aren't moving or because they are screwing up so badly what should be good outcomes for our people. I am just one man. My team, too, and my office resources are just 10% of what the executive and legislative branches have to operate just for their offices alone. Over $16 million, and yet we are called on for help in ways congressional offices on Guam never have been before to fill clear local gaps in leadership. As abhorrent as corruption is, it is nothing compared to incompetence, as the latter not only breeds mediocrity and sells it as a faux exceptionalism, it emboldens the corrupt who thrive knowing the incompetent will never face them. Guam, please vote for new, capable, competent leaders. Vote for leaders who will do their jobs regardless of how it may make those on the receiving end feel. Vote for leaders who put results for the people above the perks of taking trips or photo ops or being recognized at events. Vote for leaders who will do what is right and not hide in fear from the threats of those who have been manipulating the system behind the scenes for generations. If for no other reason, vote for these kinds of leaders so that those of us who strive for this will stop being drowned by the sewage of leadership incompetence. Because just like in any job, when you have someone incompetent, you end up having to do their work on top of yours. And you and I both know that is the surest way for an enterprise to lose your best workers. Vote for real leaders. Let's fix Guam. And those are the words of Congressman Michael St. Nicholas.
What was that last that drained the sewage of,
If for no other reason, vote for these kinds of leaders so that those of us who strive for this will stop being drowned by the sewage of leadership incompetence.
What do you really think, Congressman? I like this part up here, Bree. Can you scroll up a little bit?
Sure.
Right here. I am firmly resolved to shorten this labor of love if the people of Guam do not resoundingly change out the incompetence of local leadership. First of all, ever since this guy went to Congress, he thinks he's not a local anymore. That's crazy how many times they refer to local leadership. But so all we got to do is change out candidates, and then the congressman will resign, it sounds like. Because it says he's firmly resolved to shorten this labor of love if the people of Guam do not resoundingly change out the incompetence of local. It's just a bit much, really.
But there may be people out there that agree with him.
No,
with
no,
everything that's happened during this COVID crisis, I mean, can you honestly say that everything has been hunky-dory?
Right.
That the right decisions were made? That we had a great, awesome plan that we stuck to? People were getting their EIPs on a timely manner, their PUA on a timely manner. And I'm just saying this and pointing this out.
And I want you to, Bree, because that's exactly what he's thriving on. Have there been shortcomings? Has there been incompetence? Of course there has. But that doesn't make him the knight in shining armor. He's just as incompetent. That's my interpretation of it, Bree. I mean, it's just too much for me to have to try to do local leaders' jobs. I'm sorry, did I miss something? Because you just aren't doing anything over there. You're posting pictures of you laying down with your cat. You're posting pictures of your lunch. You're posting things that were already done that Kalili Sablan did. And you're trying to take credit for it. So this whole myth that Congressman San Nicolas is somehow the delegate from Guam who has done more than, and I see it a lot in the comments, they say, oh, he's done more than any other delegate. No, he hasn't. Do you guys read? It's so easy to research that. The delegate who has done the most for Guam, statistically speaking, is former delegate Robert Underwood. He had the most laws passed. If that's the measure that we're going to go on, then he's done the most. Congressman San Nicolas had one law passed, which was the technical fix.
You don't believe Berdelio?
Yeah, I know. So Underwood had more laws passed than Berdelio. That's all I'm saying, is that if you want to talk about who's done the most, then do your damn research and get off of Facebook. And maybe you'll find out there are, things that you can look at. Because I think the problem is when you start just drinking San Nicolas's Kool-Aid, which is what it is. I mean, he's just hosing everybody down with this. It's nonsense. We don't need you to fight with Guam. We need you to fight for Guam. And anyway, when I saw that, I wanted to throw my phone because I was like, dude, it's Father's Day. And it's Father's Day weekend. And this is the kind of nonsense you're going to put out. But it's so typical when he's backed into that corner. I mean, this is huge. They formed an entire subcommittee in the United States House of Representatives specifically to investigate our delegate. It's huge. It doesn't get any huger than that. Mm-hmm. And for him to completely ignore that fact and to do a 5-foot-long Facebook post about how everybody else is corrupt and everybody else is incompetent and everybody else is not doing anything, and I am just one man and I am the only one who is standing up and doing anything over here in the States while I'm posting pictures of my lunch and my cat. It really is ridiculous, and I think it's one of the biggest myths, is the myth that Congressman Mike San Nicolas does so much for the people of Guam. We haven't seen the guy. The senators did more than him during the COVID. The mayors did more. The governor and the lieutenant governor did more than Congressman San Nicolas. Because all he's been doing is self-quarantining in the States. That's it.
The sad thing is when we had Lieutenant Governor on and he was saying he spoke more to Khalili, I don't even think he spoke with
it's embarrassing. It's embarrassing that the delegate from the CNMI does more for Guam than the delegate from Guam does. It's embarrassing. But it is what it is. So anyway, I want to get a speaker on to and I know you got some things you want to talk about, speaker, but if we could just first, not sure if we had got the reaction from you on the ethics subcommittee formation, but I guess just round robin, because you guys have had your little history too, speaker. So what's your reaction to just this this Facebook post? Wow. Good morning.
Good morning. Manana Sizua to you, Chris and Sabrina, and I guess happy Father's Day still to you and all the dads out there. And I just want to share, just based on that, I continue to accept and willingly work with those constituents who are referred from the congressman's office to my office to facilitate the issues and concerns of our signers and all those other constituents who have concerns that need to be dealt with here on Guam. And I just want to say that my office is always open to them, and especially as it relates to the war claims issue and the issues regarding the stimulus and the pool and all the other programs that we are getting from the federal government. I also want to say that though it hasn't been very enlightening to get a lot of information out from his office, that I want to extend my thank you to Congressman Khalili and his staff for helping out and bridging a lot of the answers that we need as we continue to work closely with the White House and with congressional delegates, because we still have some issues, may not be important to a lot of people, but those issues as it relates to war claims and even the cockfighting efforts. Just this morning, we needed some information, and it was Congressional Khalili's office that was returned our call and gave us the information we needed. So I just want to say thank you to that, but also know that in every process, I always believe that any individual's who's been alleged to have wrongdoings. They're innocent till they're proven guilty. But I just want you to know that any constituent who's referred from his office are more than welcome to have us see what we can do to help them, because our office is open.
Speaker, so I'm just because you kind of said it a couple times, you're talking about people who are referred from his office. Is this office, do they just refer people to you guys, or because I hear that people try and get a hold of the office and they can't, so then they go call Kalili or they go call you guys?
Now we've had lots of constituents who got referred to our office and said they were either called Congressman Nicholas's office or went to their office and they were referred to us, especially as it relates to our assignments and the war claims. We have had a bunch. And I continue to work with them on doing their follow-ups, checking to see if there was ever a claim that has been filed, following through to see whatever updates is. Just over the weekend, we had a couple, and we will do follow-up letters this week with the constituents' consent.
Speaker, why would Congressman Michael St. Nicholas's office refer people to your office on issues related to war claims?
Yeah, these are federal issues.
I think because he shared with the statement more recently that instead of trying to see what we can do about our those constituents or those war survivors that did not get a claim because they failed to file, that they should, and I was the author of the bill for the war claims, that they should come and see me. So,
I see.
You know, in that effort, Bree and Chris, my office is always open and my staff is always hospitable to take the constituents in. Again, my number is 477-2520. And, you know, I had no reservations saying what my cell number was. So, 688-3686. So, again, to all our signers out there, please, if you have any issues and concerns as it relates to war claims, you can still call my office. I know the governor's office and all the work that they've done, the hard work that they've done, they have closed shop because of the bill finally becoming law. But I think as far as the transition and as far as the questioning, we have no problems continuing to ask the commission to get any updates for our signers.
Can we talk, Speaker, about the airmen who bailed on their quarantine? So here's an instance where, and I'm sure you followed the news closely.
Yes, and Chris, I want to say that it was you, I think, that broke the story on how members of the Air Force that broke the quarantine protocols, and they had visited our local businesses, and we know that they have all tested positive. And though in my heart I've always said that the Air Force was the best, my son is still in the Air Guard, my husband is a retired airman, but believe me, this is not acceptable. You folks know that the JICS release on 165 states clearly that even DOD officials, they have to go to work, return to their hotel, nothing else for 14 days as they self-quarantine. I want to share with the both of you, my grandson recently returned, and this was before they were allowed, they allowed anybody to go home and quarantine at home. And as much as I wanted him to be at home, I understood what they needed to do, and as far as the government needed to do their part to make sure that we keep our nanas and tatas safe, and he had to stay there. And for these individuals to act the way they did, I truly believe that that's just simply unacceptable and selfish, and the unaccepted nature and the danger that they put through our community. I don't know if people don't realize the magnitude of how many residents, countless residents that will be infected, and a lot of them may not even know, because if these folks had the opportunity to go out and not listen to the protocols, I'm telling you, they may have infected so many others without our people knowing. And you know, today I need you to know that I am writing a letter to the Attorney General's office requesting that they enforce 10 GCA Chapter 19 which would find will find these people, or even give them jail time, and know that this is a misdemeanor if they violate the orders. And you know what? As I appreciate the work that public health and human services does to help do this contact tracing, I literally want to say that if not for them, that we will continue to have more people affected here on Guam, and that is so uncalled for.
Mm-hmm.
And like I said, I you know what, we'll take the steps to follow through. And I just need you to know that I even had my staff work this weekend and call Joint Region to share my concern, to share my frustration, because as we had the shelter in place, as we had to make sure that our community was safe and put all those protocols and work with what the governor and the administration had to do to make sure that our people are protected, we have folks that just nonchalantly went out and literally did not adhere to the quarantines that should have been put in place.
Do you have any idea how many service member we're talking about that were deployed, or where they were deployed from? Because I know we've tried to get that information.
I have a meeting this week with Joint Region. I'm calling, I'm asking the questions. I started off, I shared with my staff, make sure that meeting is in, because this is not acceptable.
Right. Well, this is a meeting that should have happened yesterday.
To the brave men and women in the Air Force, my son, my husband, you know, our Air Force, but this is not right. If the Navy continued to share with the community every day, the step by step, I don't know if you remember that there was a picture not too long ago when this whole thing started about some military personnel or DOD personnel that were at the beach.
Right.
And that picture came out. We called JIG, we called the Joint Region, and Captain Sholey and Admiral Minoni were on it, and they said sanctions will be given to those who violate it. And if the governor is going to give out an order, then we, as a military community, need to follow the law. And I'm just sharing with you my frustration.
Did you tell them like that, Speaker? Because it kind of seems like in our government, it's like we only want to be friends with the military and show off our relationship with them when it's not uncomfortable. So I just want to know: are you asking? You're asking the tough questions.
I know that Joint Region shares my same sentiments, and that's why we are going to do this follow up. And I want to share with the both of you that this is not acceptable.
Right.
And
I mean, Joint Region, Speaker, I'm sure you saw over the weekend they banned Marines, Navy, Coast Guard from dining in restaurants, from going out to bars
until June 25th.
Right.
Yes, and again, for those who violated that, they should have their just punishment coming to them, because it is disrespectful for them to know that they may have been affected and know that they may have been compromised, but to compromise our own community, this is unacceptable. And yes, my frustration is there. And yes, the calls are made. And as oversight chair of the Guam buildup, this is important that we take care of this right away. And I just, like I said, want to thank the Department of Public Health and Social Services for the work that they're doing. And I know that the strong contact tracing that we've been able to work with here on Guam, that it has helped a lot, and thank God for that, because if not, we wouldn't have found all these other ones. And I really think that the Andersons should step up to the plate, and they should be literally quarantining all that until this matter is resolved. And I know that you think that might be hard, but if we had to close down and shut down based on even the possibility of one being affected in a certain area, then they should follow those same rules and regulations.
Mm-hmm. Have you, by any chance, reached out to the Reef Hotel? I mean, they've got to be concerned over there.
I did that this morning, but we will continue to work closely and make those necessary calls to see what is, to get the assessment of what is going on. But more importantly, as oversight chair of the Guam Build-Up, I have already made the necessary calls to Joint Region to set the meeting up and then to communicate with Anderson to say that this is unacceptable.
Yeah. And the other part of this is the fact that, the target deadline to reopen Guam was July 1st.
Oh, Lana, that's next week.
Yeah. And then all of a sudden this happens. And what do you think the impact is going to be?
You know what, Bree and Chris? In this effort, they have jeopardized our economy, our community, our residents, our businesses. And let me tell you, like I said, when this happened in the beginning, and Admiral Manoni and Captain Sholey and that team literally worked with our governor, our administration, and to make sure that the information was given to us to tell us what exactly they're doing and what steps were being taken. It is a shame that Anderson hasn't stepped up to the plate. And I just want you to know that I really think that a full quarantine measure should be put in place at Anderson or wherever that population is, that affected population, and everybody around that area should be quarantined.
Speaker, do you think that these...
We have to step up to the plate.
Do you think that these positives are going to affect our ability to move forward with our reopenings of our island? Or do you think that we should hold steady? Do you think we should keep moving full steam ahead? Or do we kind of need to stop and reassess what we're looking at?
I think that as a community, based on the numbers are in and the tracking that's done, I know that CDC, Public Health, the administration, I know I usually have a meeting with the governor to update. That meeting is today at 12:30, and I will definitely ask to see what the update is coming in from the military, coming in from Anderson, and we literally need to do this reassessment. Here we are tracking with very few numbers coming in positive and literally trying to flatten this curve, and then this happens to us. Of course, we would need to reassess.
Right.
Yeah.
But it is hard because our community literally took the time to try and help with flattening this curve. And then this happened. So of course you can hear the frustration here. And our work still needs to move on. And I'm just saying that I want to reiterate the efforts of what Joint Region is going to do to move forward in that meeting with them. And I will definitely let you guys know.
Please keep us posted, Speaker, because
I also need to finish penning that letter to the Attorney General, Levin Camacho, and ask him to look at what punishments can be given and handed down to those who violate and not listen to what's happening.
Well, thank you, Speaker, and keep us posted on your meeting with the Gov. We're up against the clock here. We got to run, but I know there's a lot of stuff, and we could catch up maybe later this week or next week.
I definitely will, because I'd like to talk to you about a plan I have in reference to updating technology and what it can do for our government of Guam.
And we definitely want to have that conversation, Speaker, but just not right now. We're pretty backed up.
Thank you. No worries.
All right. Take care.
Thank you, Speaker. Wash your hands and keep us posted, okay?
God bless. Sign them
Okay.
off.
Okay. Well, there you go, Speaker Barnes.
Unacceptable. That's the one thing I got. That is completely unacceptable. Again, if you just heard, 22 over the weekend, military service member popping positive for COVID-19. They are part of a unit that's deployed to Anderson Air Force Base. All we know is that they arrived to Guam on May 25th. One of those service members started showing symptoms of COVID on June 11th. Then Naval Hospital conducted a test on June 12th, and he was positive. And Department of Public Health, they confirmed with us that these service members did not follow their orders for restricted movement, which means they were only supposed to go from the Reef Hotel to work on the airbase, and apparently they didn't.
There was gallivanting.
And so Public Health is conducting their contact tracing investigations outside the base, and the military is conducting theirs on the base.
Right. We had a comment here, Bree, from Debbie. Always blame the military. There were island people without masks during the PCOR 1 and 2. Speaker stopped blaming only the military. Yeah, I think the problem with that is that we're doing our part here. We're doing the community testing. Community testing results are low in the general non-military public. It's the military that has brought the most COVID-19. It is what it is. With TR and this, they brought the most COVID-19. I'm not making a judgment. I'm just stating facts. And so it's the military that needs to really get a hold of themselves, because it's the military that exposed us to this virus in this most recent instance. And you heard the speaker. I mean, she's right. They're jeopardizing so much that we have worked so hard to do.
Mm-hmm.
We stayed home. We washed our hands. We followed the orders.
We quarantined.
We're wearing masks right now. So yeah, we're doing our part, and I just tired of this double standard. You know, and I'm tired of this, like, public health apologizing for the military, but it is what it is. Public health can't make the military do anything.
Mm-hmm.
That's why we get these, when we call public health, they're like, oh yeah, they're trying to do their part, and we're cooperating. I just want to see more, more teeth in it. And that's why I was I'm glad, Speaker. People should be pissed about this.
Yeah, I'm pissed.
Yeah, I am. I mean,
But I'm being reserved.
Yeah.
After last week, it's like, breathe.
Yeah, you don't want to cost any more directors their jobs, Bree.
No.
No, yeah, this is really.
But yeah, 22. I mean, even when we started seeing the numbers, it's like there's more to this. Something is going on. And then, sure enough, we have this deployed unit. They're staying at the Reef Hotel. And
yeah.
June
But we
11th,
can't tell you because they're top secret. They're Air Force ninjas.
Operational security. What about the
Right, yeah.
security of the people of Guam?
Amen, Sabrina. Amen, Sabrina. What about the security of the people of Guam? It's 9:30, containing COVID. We'll take a short break. We'll come back with more of this multimedia broadcast extravaganza. Good morning on you.
Keeping you informed, KUAM News brings you Banking 671, brought to you by the Bank of Guam, the People's Bank, and Coast 360 Federal Credit Union. Together, we thrive.
KUAM News COVID-19 Takeover on I-94 FM is presented locally by Ambrose Inc.
GU Self-Storage, conveniently located near the Harmon McDonald's. We offer affordable rates, online payments, and auto bill pay for your convenience. Plus gate access daily from 6 a.m. to 9 p.m. Call us today at 648-7867 for more information.
With the new challenges we're all facing, First Hawaiian Bank wants to make sure you have access to your financial world. With FHB Online and our mobile app, we hope to make banking the least of your worries. Visit fhb.com/digital.
We hope that you and your loved ones are safe and healthy during the COVID-19 pandemic. It has been a challenging time for all, but now, more than ever, our cancer patients and caregivers need us. Although we are apart, we stand united in the fight against cancer. The American Cancer Society Guam is excited to announce our first virtual Relay for Life. Join us on Saturday, June 27th at 6:30 p.m. on KUAM TV 8, as well as on I-94 FM and streaming on KUAM News digital platforms. Cancer does not stop, and neither can we. On June 27th, let's celebrate together and fight cancer. Visit relayforlife.org/GuamGU to find out how you can participate in the 2020 virtual Relay for Life Guam.
Be healthy. Be informed with ITD.
It's not always easy trying something new. Sometimes you have to help your loved ones along. Nana is so used to her weekly trips to the bank that going online can be a little scary for her. But her grandson knows that banking online is safer and easier. So he's teaching her how to get started using Bank of Guam's online banking videos. Teaching is one way to show our loved ones we care. Keep your family safe at home and show them how to bank online. Find easy-to-use online banking tutorials at bankofguam.com or on our Instagram and Facebook pages. Bank of Guam, member FDIC.
Hafa. When it comes to applying for unemployment benefits as it relates to the Pandemic Unemployment Assistance and Federal Pandemic Unemployment Compensation programs, the first thing you'll need to do is create an account and register on HireGuam.com. Utilizing this button rather than the Not Registered button at the upper right login box will ease the pool registration process as it was built specifically for the pool program. The first page you'll see is the welcome page that explains the pool program and the 10 scenarios of eligibility that caused unemployment. Read through it entirely, and if any pertain to you, click Next. Input your social security number and then re-enter to confirm. Notice at the top of the page, the eligibility section is completed and the registration process begins. In order to complete your registration process, you will be asked to provide the following: a username and password and select a security question, an email address, or if you don't have one, you will be required to create one with the link provided, your residential and mailing address if different, your preferred notification method to receive benefit notices and updates, any prior military or current military service, education, occupation, your preferred payment method, such as direct deposit or paper check. Now, if you opt for direct deposit, you will need to supply your bank account and routing number. And since these benefits are taxable, whether or not you would like your taxes withheld. When you see the page notifying you to proceed to make your PUA claim, you have completed the registration process and may continue to the work history portion of the claims process. Input your last employer data, job title, and employment information. When the system prompts you to enter your last day worked, make sure you enter the date in which your employment status was directly affected by COVID-19. For example, if you were furloughed on April 1st, 2020, but have since returned to work, you will enter April 1st and not yesterday. Complete the rest of your work history information and add as many past employers as needed. Once completed, you will be required to certify that all information is true and correct, that you are responsible to keep informed of program benefits and reading program material, and that you acknowledge that any false statements are punishable by law and could result in a fine, imprisonment, restitution, and a loss of future benefits. Read through PUA's to-do list and take note of the following. Immediately file your weekly claim. Report all income for the week to include tips, commissions, and gratuities, even if you have not yet been paid. If you return to your normal pre-pandemic work hours or return to work and make over $494, you must stop filing a weekly claim. You must be able and available for work. If you are offered your job back and refuse for a non-COVID related reason, you are no longer eligible to receive PUA benefits. And at PCOR 3, you must look for work by contacting at least 3 different employers about job openings. Be sure to upload a valid government-issued ID and supporting documents to strengthen your claim. Congratulations! You have completed the PUA claim filing process. It's time to file your weekly claim. Click on the File Your Weekly Claim button to proceed. Read through the explanation of the weekly certification process and advisories before proceeding. Notice that the weekly certification process begins the week in which you claimed as your last day of work. Answer each page honestly and input additional information as required. However, if you have since returned to work, be sure that on the weekly claim of the day you returned, you adjust your weekly earnings accordingly. Congratulations! You have filed your weekly claim. Make sure you file for all previous weeks you were affected to present. Now continue to file every week thereafter to receive unemployment benefits for those weeks. For more information on how the Guam Department of Labor can assist you, visit our website at dol.guam.gov.
39. Good morning. Let's go to the phones. We have Ed here on the line with a comment about speaker. Did you have something to say about something the speaker said, Ed?
No, I actually wanted to just reiterate that I'm very thankful for the war reparations that we got.
Mm-hmm.
And her office was very responsible for that as well. I'm glad, a lot of people are criticizing the administration for using their own money, and some people think it's not fair, but my parents, one passed away, and at least my dad got to enjoy something.
Mm-hmm.
So I want to thank her for her leadership in getting that passed. Also, I want to thank her for opening up her office for the COVID Assistance Center. I think it's very good. I went there and I was helped. Her staff was very professional, and they really helped me out. And I just want to thank her for her leadership and what she's been able to do for us. Even at the midst of a lot of criticism, you never see her talk back bad about anyone. She's that kind of leader that no matter what anyone's saying, she's still pushing forward. And I think that's what we need in Guam, is people that push forward regardless.
Okay, Ed.
Thank you, man.
Thank you, brother. Wash your hands.
Yes, sir.
Okay. 9:40. Let's keep it going here.
The Mayor of Tamuning?
Mayor of Tamuning. Tatuha. Mayor Louise Rivera. Good morning, Mayor.
Holiday. Good morning, Chris and Bree.
Hi.
First of all, we're doing good, and Sabrina's doing really good since she was added to that neighborhood chat that you guys have. That's the chat to be in, apparently.
Oh, someone's jamming out.
Oh, nice.
All right.
Is that your chat going off, Mayor?
No, that's another line.
Oh.
And Mayor, let's so we're talking about this neighborhood chat that you guys have, and we see this with so many different villages. They have either their neighborhood watch chat or just like a general village chat. So how useful a tool is it for your office, Mayor, to have this WhatsApp chat?
Oh, it's very useful. It keeps us abreast of everything that's going on in different parts of our community. We take care of the areas from East Agana all the way up to Route 16 Harmon and the Two Lovers Point area. So, it's been very helpful. And again, we were trying to bring back our quarterly meetings with GPD so that we can be better informed of everything that's going on and how to best protect ourselves and our homes. The residents of the area and everyone who traverses through it.
Mm-hmm. So how are things going in Tamuning?
So, for
and
the
Tumon
most part,
and Harmon.
We're getting by, and I was listening to earlier, and I'm excited to to hear or even anxious to hear what places they're looking at, and procuring for the homeless to use as a homeless shelter. Because we usually don't get informed until after, and we're trying to find out where, and so maybe we can help out, or in one way or the other, to find out what's going on and where these places are going to be, so that we can, tell the homeless,
right.
or what's going on or what's in the plans. And
have you heard anything, Mayor, about where the potential sites may be that they're looking at?
No, not at all. I was also trying to contact GSA to find out, but no answer.
Are you feeling optimistic, as we had the announcement last week from the Lieutenant Governor that they were anticipating closing out this issue this week?
Oh, I always look forward to that. I love that, he gives positive news, and we just continue to look out for it. When is it going to happen? Mm-hmm. We're patiently waiting, but there's those out there that are really getting upset because nothing has been there's nothing for them at this time, but we're asking them to be patient. Over the past week, we've seen a lot of other families. We used to have a lot of the homeless out here in our park, and it was very nice to see other family members take them in. And so, because we're giving out like food that was donated. We're bringing it, trying to find them to bring it to them. And so we were able to find a few of them with other family members. Yeah, so it's lessened a little out in the park, but there's still many that are all around the community. In abandoned buildings and squatting in places that have no running water facilities and no restroom.
Right. I just got a comment here, Mayor. Give me a sec here. Rick Perez, who's one of our top fans, writes, KUAM, it is Tatuhan, not Tatuha. Actually, Rick, it's Tatuha. Tatuhan is Agana Heights, right? Tatuha is Tamuning, Tumon, Harmon. It's an acronym they made with the first two letters of each of the villages that Mayor Luis Rivera has oversight of. So it is Tatuha. It's a made-up word, Rick. Thank you. Okay, Mayor. Bree had a question that's not related to the homeless for you.
Yeah, I wanted to ask about the 22 service members, this deployed unit. And after hearing from public health that they didn't follow their restricted movement orders, and the fact that they're doing contact tracing to determine where exactly these service members visited. How concerning is that to you as the mayor of Tatuha?
It is very concerning, and I have brought this up to public health in the past, because even those that were being quarantined, we were asking how we as mayors and the mayor's office staff can assist, because we're going around house to house delivering food and feeding people, and then we find out that there's family members that are in quarantine that need food. So I know I was asking, are they positives or are they just quarantined from off island? We don't know, and they didn't give us that answer. But with these service members too, I know that a few of them have come in that I know of personally that came in from off island, and even how they're being checked on. I don't know how it's being done. How are they monitoring them? And then even talking to the family, they just start to laugh. They go, I don't know what kind of what is this about? How are they doing things? Because they won't know if people go out or not. And so we were seeing a lot of businesses trying to open, and people getting out to exercise and walk Tumon, walk all over. And so we're just hoping that everyone will protect themselves and use the mask and continue to sanitize, or just stay home, stay in. But now I'm seeing that a lot of people are not wanting to wear the mask anymore. They're tired of it. But even wherever they go, they want to go to church, or they want to go to a restaurant. They're like, why do I need the mask? I can't breathe. I'm going to die more wearing it. So there's all those issues. I want to be able to help, the best way that I can. And we won't know if public health is short on staff to help do the tracing, or just to assist them. I mean, because to go and follow up on all these people that are being quarantined, to make sure that they're not leaving their homes if they're not supposed to. We know that that this service member just came from off island and he's supposed to stay in that house for 14 days. Then he shouldn't be driving out, going to the store, or going to somewhere to pick up something. So we just need to work together, and if public health needs the help to do this, then please let us know. I want to know who's in our area, to know who to watch out for, we have excellent neighborhood crime watch chats. Now it's not only crime watch, but also for important information. Mm-hmm. And so, I just ask everybody to, and especially the agencies who's in charge of this to reach out to the mayors and, our staff, because we're working out there in the community with all the residents. Everybody's concerned.
Amen, Mayor.
We want to stay safe.
We're right back where we started from. I mean, at the beginning of all this, what was the conversation? We need more transparency. And now we're in a situation where public health has admitted that these airmen are jeopardizing our health and safety because they were too hard-headed to follow simple orders. And the word from public health was, as soon as we do our investigation, then we're going to tell you guys what restaurant they ate at, or what area they went into, or places they went when they violated these orders. Do you think public health should have released that information as soon as they had it? Or do you agree that we kind of got to wait and have anxiety and panic attack while they do whatever they got to do?
Oh, well, we should be informed right away, like with everything else, before the numbers keep going up, because, if they've been to a certain restaurant and here we are, all keep ordering from the restaurant and picking up food, and, it's just good. The numbers will keep rising.
Right.
And the fact that on June 12th, this person, tested positive, and he was staying at the Reef Hotel, you would think that people would know. I mean, and I go back to St. Anthony, when public health notified the school principal on that Friday afternoon that a teacher tested positive, they shut down the school until further notice.
When Grab and Go for the Guam Department of Education had an incident where one employee who was helping out, or a worker who was helping out at that site, tested positive, they shut it down. They shut it down immediately.
The bingo hall, right?
They shut it down.
But you have this hotel, nobody knew.
Yeah, and it's not shut down.
It's just crazy.
It's just a double standard.
That too.
Yeah.
Well, when we were giving out the grab and go food, and of course the senior citizen meals every day, I made sure that all our staff got tested, because we don't want to go out there spreading it.
Mm-hmm.
If one of us had it. So, we took turns to make sure that we're always being tested and monitored. Again, yes, we want to work with public health, to help them, do the tracing,
mm-hmm.
find out where these places are, so that, we can warn people and help out each other. If they need to sanitizing or whatever, we have a lot of volunteers that'll come out and, assist them. So again, thank you guys very much for, keeping us abreast of things. I was able to hear, again, what Senator Cello was saying, because I get calls all the time about, the volleyball games going on,
mm-hmm.
Out at the beach. People want to go out and exercise and enjoy the fresh air. But, there's, it's to a point where, after that, go home. Don't just, end up, they are all doing social distancing, playing far apart from each other. But then after that, they're all hugging and high-fiving each other.
Yeah.
So.
Mayor, what about the businesses? You got a bunch of businesses in your district.
The bars opened over the weekend.
Right. What was your takeaway? What can you tell us about the first weekend of hee hee ha ha?
Well, I was seeing too that there was still people are still cautious and not in a rush to go out. I mean, there's some that miss food and eating out in a restaurant or a bar, but I haven't had any big complaints.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I had a busy schedule this weekend.
So did you go shoot pool or no?
No, I did not.
What is she, the hustler?
I don't know.
You're a really good pool player, Mayor?
No comment, right?
No comment.
You can see her at the Christmas party. She's cleaning the house.
That's what I usually say. I don't really know.
Yeah.
I may or may not know how to play
I'm
pool.
honest. I suck at pool. I sucked at geometry. I have no idea what's going on here. Mayor, thank you for your...
thanks so much.
Thank you.
Keep us posted, though, if you start hearing about, the places where they're going out to test for COVID as a result of these service members out and about and gallivanting.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
All right, take care.
Okay, you
All right,
too.
we'll see you at the pool table.
Okay, adios.
Okay, Mayor, wash your hands.
Okay,
Okay.
hasta. Adios.
Okay.
She's probably pretty badass, right?
She seems like she would be bad. She shows up, she's got her own pool stick and the thing.
And that nice, crisp break,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, I can't do that sound effect.
Before you know it, she's already hitting the 8-ball in. Gosh. I used to play pool back in the day, way, way, way back in the day in college. But it's been a while. I was actually not that bad. May have taken a few people.
That was just a total random guess, too, Bree.
Who?
On the mayor, the guess, she just seems like she shoots pool.
I know. That's you should
pretty good guess. I'm a good reader of people, right?
Yeah, you are.
Like I'm gonna read. I feel like John Birch is starting a new job this morning.
I'm still getting over that.
Did you guys hear that?
Interesting.
You want to go over that again, Bree? We had a casualty of containing COVID. As John Birch, who was the acting director of Parks and Rec on Friday, is now no longer the acting director of Parks and Rec. He's over at Ancestral Lands, and then now Jess Garcia, who is the deputy director at Department of Public Works, will now also be the acting director at Parks and Rec. I think it's a good fit. There's a lot of stuff that Parks and Rec needs that DPW has, right?
Yeah.
Like Cascal and all that. So, Jess, we talked to Jess this morning. He actually told us about this. It was pretty interesting to hear it from him. Jess is a straight shooter, you know what I mean? He's very accessible. Hardworking guy. I've called him a million times and he always answers. And if he doesn't, he calls right back. So
always accessible.
Yeah,
and we've known him for years.
Right.
When we were out on the beat every single day.
Right. I actually did a ride-along with him in the Criminal Justice Task Force.
It was SWAT, right?
Yeah, it was like a SWAT kind of thing. I'm not SWAT certified, guys. But I have gone out with these guys on a couple calls. We responded to some calls. What?
Nothing. Can we just switch?
No, but I just want to tell this last part is they almost convinced me into letting them tase me. Like, almost. This was when I was doing the most recent malfunction show, the one that was kind of like sort of serious. And so I went out on a ride with these guys. Then we're done. They're like, dude, let's tase you for the... we'll just tase you for the video. And I was like, wow, that sounds pretty cool. I was like, no one ever got tased in Guam on camera before, so, I mean, unless they're a suspect. But then when I Googled what happens when you get tased, a lot of times when you get tased, you lose control of your bowels.
So you didn't want to
I didn't want to, like, poo myself or pee myself on camera. That was the only reason. Other than that, I was totally down. So if it
we could probably still make that happen.
I have to just don't eat or drink anything for 3 days, right?
Can you hook us up? Or no, hook him up? I'm not down for that. No, I'm not down for that. I do want to, before we just end on a good note, this is actually a good thing. We got a release from Neil Ware over the weekend, and he's letting everybody know that on Friday, a federal judge ruled in Schaller versus U.S. Social Security Administration that the exclusion of Guam residents from the Federal Supplemental Security Income Benefits, that's the SSI program, for the blind, elderly, and disabled constitutes unconstitutional discrimination. The decision, if upheld on appeal, would mean that Katrina Schaller, who is a resident of Guam who suffers from a debilitating genetic disorder, would receive the same federal SSI benefits as her twin sister, Leslie, who lives in Pennsylvania and receives $755 a month in SSI payments. Leslie has found a companion case in Pennsylvania, wanting to be able to visit her family on Guam for more than 30 days or move to Guam without loss of her benefits. Incredible.
That's pretty cool. That's how they were able to get that. Is
Mhm.
one twin
Yeah.
in one place was getting it, another twin in another was not getting it.
It's pretty sad.
That is 9:59. Oh, so let's. That is them. Yeah.
Oh.
We have a picture.
Yeah. We'll have more on this story tonight on Prime Time.
Yes, we will. 9:59. Let's end on a good note here. We're going to get Teresa Amunia from Beneventi Middle School. Good morning, Teresa.
Hi, Teresa.
Papa Day. Good morning.
Chris and Sabrina here. We're going to end on a good note with you. This is a great story. We're going to pop up the pictures and run them here. Beneventi Middle School was able to make a very generous donation to Island Girl Power, so we know you were a big part of that. If you just take us to the beginning, whose idea was it? How'd you come up with the money? Just walk us through the donation, and then what was the reaction from Island Girl Power and also the students at BMS. So we're going to give you the floor. You got a few minutes here. Take it away.
Okay. The funds were actually raised by our students. They are sixth graders from Incredible Dolphins at Beneventi Middle School. And because of the COVID, we were not able to utilize the funds to go on the field trip that we had anticipated on and do the end of the year, celebrations that we normally plan each year. So when it came time to decide what we can use the funds for, the students had decided instead of dividing that amount amongst about 140 students roughly, they would probably get $8 each. They decided to just go ahead and donate it to a better cause. And so they had, went along with the lines of what charities to donate. And some of the students thought of Island Girl Power because they are just around the corner from our school. And the fact that Island Girl Power helps our school a lot and helps the students a lot in more ways than one. And so that's where the funds came from. It came from a year of fundraising and things of that nature. And instead of claiming the money back to them, they decided to donate. And some of the students felt that even the smallest help can help somebody. And one of our students had also, shared with us on the group chat that even though you're making someone else happy, it also makes you feel good and happy at the end because it's someone else that you're helping, and they feel a lot better after helping them out.
Yeah,
so that's really how. Yeah.
It's just such a cool story because you have something that so easily could have been a negative, and that these kids worked so hard to raise this money throughout the whole school year. The world was thrown this COVID curveball, and I'm pretty sure they had a lot of good activities that they had planned for this, but then to really turn that L into a W, that loss into a win here, and help out a great group. I mean, I love Island Girl Power. They do so many great things. They're just awesome of you guys.
Yes, and I'm very appreciative of our students. It was very selfless of them. And so that is why I wanted to show my appreciation, and let the island know that any small help from anybody. And I know a lot of students help other people. Maybe they don't get recognized, and those are the students that go on unrecognized. But I'm sure a lot of students help out in their own way.
And anybody out there who knows any students who've done something similar, hit us up on the DM, send us a message or a comment, and we'll do our part to recognize them. But it's about you guys this morning, Teresa, and so that's why we wanted to bring you on, to let the whole island and the world know that the students over at BMS done a great thing, and for today they are our COVID heroes.
Thank you. I will let them know.
Thank you so much, okay, and God bless you, and wash your hands.
Yes, thank you, Chris and Sabrina. You guys have a good day and stay safe.
You
stay
too,
safe.
Okay.
All right.
Okay. 10:03. There you go. Always good to end on a good note. Bree, good job today. Anything you want to throw out there in closing?
Yeah, I just wanted to thank the PD mayor. He delivered these shirts for us. This is so awesome. This is really cool. And a coffee mug. I could always use this. So thank you so much.
Good. Thank you for the coffee mug, because it was the coffee mug, like my relatives used to say, it grew legs.
Yeah.
It always grow legs and walk away. Also, for the chow.
Yes. Didn't get to try it yet, but I plan to after the show.
We have some empanada, and then there was also some fried rice.
Yeah. Thank you. I'm not sure why did he... It's just to say thank you to us? Wait, where's my card? Where's my card?
Yeah,
Okay,
we're
I'll try
close to the mayor. We bring him on, and
Yeah.
so just thank you. Whatever it
Thank
was
you.
for mayor,
Mhm.
we definitely appreciate it. Keep it coming. This is what we got on Monday. What are we getting on Tuesday? Nay, I wanna take a minute to wish a very big happy birthday to one of our big players here on Team KUAM. Happy birthday to Eli Monge.
Oh, happy birthday.
Right, I think it's it's definitely today. So he went Father's Day yesterday, birthday. So happy birthday. 10:04, the show again proudly brought to you by Calvo Enterprises, IT&E, Ambrose Inc., Coast 360, and the Bank of Guam. It has been another 4 hours of containing COVID. For our digital team, we have Jacob and Ken Sanity today. And as always, a lot of stuff you hear on this show will make it into the 6 o'clock newscast, where we'll add more.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, good job today, Bree.
Good job, Chris.
And keep those TikTok Live Life Alive dance challenges coming.
Please.
Leaving you with this one from Fat Tofu. And again, on behalf of our sponsors and for Sabrina Salas Matanani, thank you so much for your support on this Monday. My name's Chris. Está. Adios.
Bye.